you guys can hear me. So if you would please just drop a message in the chat. I want to make sure I'm coming through loud and clear. The last mini masterclass I did, I had a little dip in volume. So I want to make sure the volume is good. You guys can hear me and I'm coming through loud and clear. So please let me know in the chats if that is correct. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, which is tremendously important. If you've never been to one of my events before, you will see that we have multiple ways, actually 2 ways of communicating. And the first way is for what you guys are doing right now, which is in the group chat. You're chatting, you're saying hello right there in the chat, which I appreciate. However, and let me say this method of communication is great for general questions, any comments you guys have, anything that you feel you want to share. As a matter of fact, this is an awesome place to share your questions because this is where group learning can take place, right? You can drop a question in here. Hey, what about ABCD? I can go ahead and answer that question, hopefully. And then the whole group gets to benefit from the question that you just asked. However, some people want to be more private with their information, potentially because that information might be about a particular body odor they're having, or maybe a discharge of some sort, or maybe their bowel habits, and they don't really want to talk about stool consistency in the open forum. In that case, we have for you a special private place to talk, which is in our Q&A section. So you can go ahead and click and message there. I have 2 amazing moderators on tonight. So Bethany has been with me for 8 years, I think now. She's my director of public relations. She is absolutely amazing. She has a master's of science degree and she's just the best. So she's going to be here to moderate the webinar and help you guys. And then Alexandra, who is just phenomenal. I can't say enough great things about her. So you have 2 amazing moderators, Alexandra and Bethany, and they're going to be helping you with anything that you need help with that I can immediately answer for you right here and now. So, okay, it looks like I'm coming through loud and clear, which is awesome because that was my intention. All right, well, without further ado, let's get into it, right? Let's get into the reason why you guys are here tonight, which is this whole body detox mini master class. And make no mistake, it is a mini master class. You guys will be mini masters. All of you guys will be getting black belts. They will just be really little. You'll have very little black belts. They'll be tiny. They'll fit around your waist, but they'll be little. However, they will still be a black belt. So you guys will be black belts in whole body detoxification at the end of tonight's mini master class. Okay, so first off, I do have to give a disclaimer. This makes all the attorneys on the planet happy. So we are not treating thyroid disease, adrenal disease, liver or gut disease. We're not treating people with mold infections or parasitic infections with the material on this webinar. This material is educational information only and is to be used as such. It's not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. The FDA has not evaluated any of the material that I'm going to cover here with you tonight to be intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. And let me tell you, I've lost a lot of sleep over the FDA not evaluating my material. Just kidding. So people stopping their medications and are between them and their doctor. So this is an important one. So I've been in private practice for 27 years. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands of people come off variety of medications for autoimmune disease. They've come off thyroid medication, so on and so forth. I've also had quite a few people attend a webinar or a mini masterclass and apply the information in the mini masterclass. And then they're messaging me, oh my God, Dr. Rob, I've been on thyroid medication for 20 years. I just came off by applying the information I got from your webinar. Thank you so much. I am not telling you guys to stop your medication by coming to this webinar or by using the information in this webinar. What you decide to do with this information is between you and your doctor, and it should be taken to your doctor. Always check with your medical doctor before starting or stopping medications or supplements. All right, things have been fully disclaimed. Now, I want to tell you about a special. This is the special of all specials. It's so special, I should really only do this on Christmas morning. It's that special. Stay until the end special. There's two. Boom, boom. That one and that one. The first one, attendees that hang around for the full event. You do have to be here for the full event. You will get the thyroid supplement list at the end of the event, the adrenal supplement list, the liver supplement list, the gut, the liver smoothies. And these are not my supplements, by the way. I'm not trying to sell you my supplements at this webinar or something like that. So those aren't the supplement list you're going to get. You're just going to get the list of supplements that are great. You buy them from whoever or wherever you want. So not that type of event. So you're going to get this list. You're going to get the liver smoothie recipes. You're going to get the food list for the deep liver cleansing. You're going to get the adrenal stress reduction toolkit and the thyroid foods to avoid. You're also going to get, but wait, there's more. You're also going to get the thyroid detox food list, the adrenal detox food list, the liver detox food list, the detox smoothie recipes, all the detox smoothie recipes, every one of them you're going to get. And you're also going to get the lifestyle reset. You're getting a ton of info for free by making it to the end. I'm estimating, honestly, it's probably $100 value, maybe a $200 value. Maybe if you're in Mexico, it's worth like 80 million pesos. I don't know the conversion rate. That sounds pretty high. But then again, I remember being in Mexico and getting a hamburger for like 12,000 pesos. So maybe this is a whole lot of pesos. I don't know. The links will be given in the comment section towards the end. So all this stuff here that I'm going to give you, this is all going to be as links in the comment section in towards the end, middle end, very end. I don't know yet, but somewhere along that part of the webinar. Now, I do want to say this because I don't want anybody to get mad at me. So these are for the people that want to hang. You guys want to hang. You want to put the work in. You want to really, really get this information to, with your doctor's opinion or approval, apply it to yourself so you can get your body to heal. Those guys are going to be rewarded with all the information. If you message me tomorrow morning and you're like, Dr. Rob, I only made it for the first 50 minutes because while I was watching the webinar, I stubbed my toe, my toenail bent back and it was terrible and I had to tape it. And the next thing I knew, I lost connection with the webinar and I couldn't get back on because lightning struck through our house and blew our TV up. And then flames came out of the house. I cannot give you the, well, maybe in that case, but no, I will not actually have the webinar links. They will be given out really here, and here's where they will be. So if you want to get them, you actually have to be here. I will not be able to give them to you in the morning or at a later date, or if you email and ask them, we will not be able to give them to you. So they are going to be giving out here. So make it to the end because it's going to be awesome and we're going to have so much fun. So the longer you stay on the webinar, ipso facto, the more fun you will have. Plus, you get like $100 to $200 worth of free stuff. So hang out with me, learn this stuff. That's really my intention, to get you guys to learn this info because, face it, we got to make a change in the health of our country, really the health of our planet, because we are spiraling downward and it's time to start moving ourselves up. And we got to be armed with the correct information in order to do that. Let's get back to the material. But there is a lot of information that you guys are going to get in the form of handouts. We're covering everything in the mini masterclass, but there's a lot of stuff you're going to get in handouts. So, all right. So I have a polling question for you guys. So here's a polling question. We're going to start tonight off with a polling question, which means I'm actually going to ask you a question because I'm interested in the answer. And the question that I'm going to ask is this one. I'm curious to know, how many of you have tried a detox and didn't see the results you wanted? So I'm going to put this up actually as a poll. So the question is, how many, just going to put this, have you tried a detox? ? And then option 1, got great results. Option 2, blah. Not so great. Okay, so we're going to display the results at the end of the poll, preview, publish. Okay, so I've just published a poll. Now, where to find that poll per se, I don't know, but it looks like you guys are finding the poll just fine and dandy. So right now we got about 83% of the people saying, yeah, I've tried a detox, but didn't get so much great results. They were kind of blah. And then we got about 18% saying, yeah, I got great results. And this is so unfortunate, but this is the truth with detoxes. And I'm going to explain to you why this happens. And I have a solution for you because you have to know where and how we're going to end the poll. Here's the results. So you should be able to see the results somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but you should definitely be able to see them. I'll tell you them. 81% of the people said blah, not so great. And 18% of the people said, yeah, man, I got great results. It was really awesome. I would do it again. That's why I'm here, because I just want to detox all day. So, but in reality, we do have about 81% not getting such great results. And it can be really, really frustrating when you are eating and exercising like an Olympic athlete, but you have the energy and physique of a potato, right? It doesn't work well when you're putting all the time and effort in and you're not seeing the results. All right, second polling question that we're going to ask. So we have 2 polling questions in tonight's event. And the second one is basically, have you ever tried to resolve a health or weight problem and you weren't successful or weren't as successful as you would like to be? So we're going to reset the polls. We're going to have a new poll here. Okay, so the poll is published. Have you tried to heal from a health or weight problem? Yes, I did. I did it. I've healed. Or I tried, but I'm not as good as I'd like to be. I really want to see a lot of improvement. And this one, we see even a little, I wasn't expecting this much of a derivation, but we see what we see. The numbers are what they are. So basically, what we got here, I'm going to publish this poll right now for you guys. So we have 90% of the people saying, yes, I've tried, but I didn't quite see the results that I wanted to. And some people said, yes, I did. 9% said, yes, I did it. Congratulations to the 9%. You guys did a really good job, something that's very hard for people to do. But I'm hoping by the end of this mini masterclass, you guys will have knowledge to be able to get yourself in the 9%. We all want to be in the 9% until the 9% becomes 100%. Or maybe not 100, because 100% might be asking too much, but at least in the 90%. We want that 9% to flip and become the 90%. And I can tell you, when you are trying to do this and you are not succeeding at it, it can be really frustrating. Trying a detox and not getting the results is one thing, but when you have a chronic health problem and you're trying to solve it, and it's just not solving, that can be really, really frustrating. It can kind of feel like you're a hamster on a wheel, right? You take tons of supplements, you take medications, you go doctor to doctor to doctor, you try these diets, you try these exercise plans. Some people are plunging themselves in cold baths. Some people are grounding themselves into the earth like they are a palm tree, right? Other people are inferniating themselves in a sauna like they're in the middle of the Sahara, right? To heat up and get those heat shock proteins released. We're trying all these things. And when you're not seeing the results, that can be a really big, frustrating problem. And the big problem with actually not getting results, like it stinks not to get results, right? It stinks to have a chronic health problem, to be stuck in it, to be in that kind of hamster on the wheel trap. But really the big problem with not succeeding or failing at trying to solve a health problem is when you fail enough times, you may quit. Some people feel like their chronic health problem, whatever it is a life sentence. Some of them feel like, hey, I just can't be fixed. This is something I have to live with. My doctor told me I have to live with it. That's all there is to it. There's no solution for it. There's no cure. I have to be dependent on medications. Unfortunately, the thing people forget is that the body has an incredible ability to heal itself when you do the right thing. And we'll have patients from time to time who say these words, I just don't see a way out. I'm stuck in this maze of doctors and medications and supplements, and I just don't see a way out. And being in that state of not seeing a way out can create for someone depression. It can make them anxious. When you're dealing with a chronic health problem and it's just not resolving, especially when it's significant, it can create a disconnection. And what I mean by that is many people with chronic health problems in life, they're in public, they're with other people, but they're disconnected. They're not fully immersed into the situation. So we can have a loss of relationship when a person has a chronic health problem. We can also see a loss of self, where people start to feel this sensation of, I feel like I've lost myself. I'm not the person I know I am. I'm not this person. I've heard that so many times over the last 27 years. Dr. Rob, this isn't me. I'm not this person. Like, I feel like I'm someone else. And this could lead to solidarity, where a person is just alone, right? They start to isolate themselves because they don't feel well. So they don't go out as much. They don't do as much. And all of this is caused by one main thing, meaning health problems, unsolving health problems, doing poorly on detoxes, feeling anxious, depressed, upset about the health problem that a person has, it's all caused by one main thing, which should be a little bit relieving. And the one main thing is the wrong why. And what I mean by this, the wrong why, is you've never found the actual root cause or the reason why, which is what I call the right why. Meaning if you find the reason why you have the health problem or weight problem that you're dealing with, you actually have the right why. So, but when you don't have the reason why, when you have the wrong why, you're now in trouble, right? The issue is if you had the right why and knew what to do, you would actually be healthy. So think about that for a second. If you just had the right why, you had the actual root cause, the reason why your problem is the way it is, you would actually be at your optimal health. If you knew the right detox to do for your body and could detoxify or remove the poison that was in there that was making you ill, your body could get healthy. That is 100% true. So if you had the right why and knew what to do, you would be at your optimal health. However, the wrong why, it doesn't work. And that's what happens to people. People go, I'm going to try an ice bath. I'm going to try sauna. I'm going to try B12. Hey, someone told me I'm not methylating. I need more methyl vitamins. Hey, someone told me this. Hey, I watched this guy on TikTok and he said I need to have this blended shake. And this guy said, and you try all these different things. And let me research this and research. And you're trying and trying and trying, but you don't know the why, right? It's like if you're trying to fix your overheating floor at a home by buying a stronger air conditioner without knowing about and fixing the hole in the roof, you will fail, right? If there's a hole in your roof and you're like, man, it's so hot in here, we're dying, we need a new AC. The AC will never be strong enough to cool the whole entire house if you have a massive hole in the roof. It's just not going to happen, right? But here's the good news, kind of. The good news is there are only 2 reasons why you will ever get sick. This is it. This is it, guys. This is the magic, or kind of. There's only 2 reasons why you will ever get sick. The first reason, listen up, get your pens out. This is important. The first reason, you are missing something that you need. That's the first reason why people get sick. They're missing something that they need. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's a vitamin deficiency. They have a deficiency in vitamin A, in one of the B vitamins, vitamin C, D, E, so on and so forth, right? There's a vitamin deficiency, or there's a mineral deficiency. They're missing a mineral. They need calcium. They need magnesium. They need iodine. They need something that they're missing. Sometimes they're missing connections. They need friends. They need family. They need social. They need God, right? They need a connection that they're missing, but they're missing something. Now, interesting. If you just found out if you were missing something, if you found out what you were missing, some people don't know how to do that, but I'm going to help you guys tonight. So if you found out what you were missing and corrected that, your body would have the thing that it's missing and could heal itself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're being poisoned. Yes, the second reason you're sick, the first one is you're missing something. The second, you're being poisoned. Now, look, I don't mean that your mother-in-law is out to get you, although she very well may be. I don't know your mother-in-law. So, but I don't mean like someone is, pouring something in your coffee in the morning or something like that. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to that your body is literally being poisoned. And by literally being poisoned, I mean it's being poisoned. Like, you are being poisoned by black mold. There's black mold in your house, or you don't know it. There's black mold in your car. This is a true story. So I had a young girl that came to me once, and she was not growing. She was 12. She looked like she was 6, and she was doing poorly in school. She couldn't focus. She couldn't concentrate. She was just weak, didn't look well, right? So we ran some tests on her and stuff like that. I sat down with the mom. I said, listen, your daughter has a mold exposure. Showed her the lab results right here. She has a toxic mold. You have mold in your house. The wife's like, the mom's like, no way. We don't have mold in our house. I go, you got mold in your house. And without question, you don't have these high of levels without living in it. This is not something she's getting like by going to her friends or something like that. Her levels were like off the chart, right? So, and I told the mom, I said, you got to get your house checked. Mom's like, I don't have a problem with that in my house. I'm like, okay. We started working with her and she wasn't really making much progress. I'm like, did you get your house checked yet? She's like, no, we don't have a mold problem. I'm like, okay. So the husband came with her on the next visit. Husband's like, listen, man, I'm a contractor and this is what I do for a living and blah, blah, blah. We don't have mold. And I'm like, get your house checked for mold. Just please. It's just, and they're like, okay, we'll get it checked. They got it checked for mold. They had to buy an RV and live in the driveway and have the whole house remediated. The whole baseboard of the entire house was filled with black mold. Luckily, the mom wasn't ill or the dad wasn't ill, but the daughter was significantly ill. They remediated the house. I got her on the right nutrition to help her body to kill off and detoxify the mold. Within months, the girl starts sprouting up. She starts growing. Her grades like all A's and like a B. Everything starts improving. Her communication improves. Her sinuses improves. Her whole body starts to improve. Why? Right? Why? Right? We got the right why. But she was being poisoned. She was literally being poisoned by black mold that was in her house. She just didn't know it. So Aspergillus is another type of mold. Penicillium. I'm going to teach you guys how to detox mold tonight from your body. And I'm going to give you indicators to know if you should detox mold or not, right? Maybe you should detox parasites. I'm going to try to help you understand that tonight. Parasites, worms, flukes, which are types of parasites, bacteria like H. pylori, Campylobacter. I'm going to help give you guys indicators of how to know what you should detoxify for yourself. Yeast, fungi, viruses. Should you detox a virus? Is that what's poisoning you? Is Epstein-Barr virus constantly reactivating your body, poisoning you, right? Or is it an environmental toxin or a heavy metal? Or is it a person? I've had people in my life that were pure poison, man. I mean, let me tell you something. The strongest cyanide in the planet was not as strong as some of these toxic people that I've come across in my life. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about because I know we've all run into them. Right? So we want to get the poison out of our life. So because tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to unpoison yourself. Here's another thing that should give anyone hope with a chronic health problem. Here's the one thing that gives me the most hope for any person I'm ever dealing with. All of our bodies, every single person who can still fog a mirror with their breath, right? Any person who could still move a pinky, all of our bodies are self-healing. All of our bodies are self-healing, providing you find the root cause and address it properly. You can break a bone into 10 pieces, and what happens? It heals. You can be a sick person getting attacked by viruses, and usually what happens if you do the right thing? It heals, right? But you have to identify the root cause. Like if a person is like, my God, my leg is really hurting, and the doctor goes, oh, it's because you have a back problem, and starts massaging their back and doing stuff to their back, but they have a broken leg, they're not going to get better, right? The doctor, you have to identify the cause. Oh my God, the cause of the leg pain is you have a broken leg. Let's set it, let's cast it. Your body is going to heal. So if you find the cause, handle it properly, the amazing thing, your body heals. This happens all the time. And not only is your body self-healing, but it's self-replacing, meaning every 3 days, guys, every 3 days, every one of us for the most part gets a brand new stomach lining. Every 90 to 120 days, you get new blood, meaning your body destroys 25 trillion red blood cells and makes a whole 25 trillion brand new red blood cells. That's crazy. Every 3 years, you get a brand new liver. As a matter of fact, your liver can be 90% destroyed. And if you do the right thing for your body, in 1 to 3 years, you will regrow an entire new liver. And every 7 years, you get a brand new you. Isn't that amazing? So let's start growing healthy us's. If our bodies replace themselves all the time, let's start removing the poisons and let's start replacing it with the stuff that it needs so our bodies can heal themselves. Because that's what I've been doing over the last 27 years. For those of you guys that are new on this event tonight who don't know me, I'm a naturopath. I'm also a chiropractor. I've been in practice for 27 years. I've worked with over 50,000 patients and clients from every American state and 30 other countries. So I fully understand the struggle of being sick. Some docs don't. Unfortunately, I do. My wife, Pam, and I have been married for almost 27 years. It'll be 27 years in August. And these are her 4 favorite pictures of me. This is me at 34, but this is me at 34 really, really sick. So when I say, like, I understand you, or I understand what it's like to be ill, I unfortunately really do. Here is not just a picture of a fat guy, but this was a picture of a very sick guy. I was so sick that I couldn't work. I was out of work for 3 months. I was very active in my church, loved my church, couldn't do anything in my church, couldn't participate at all. There was nothing I could do, couldn't attend church whatsoever, couldn't contribute to church. I was completely disconnected from my church except for praying in my bed, and that was it. So I was in bed 23 out of 24 hours a day. I was so sick. I hope that you guys never have to experience this. And for those of you that have, I'm sorry. But I remember laying in my bed distinctly, And I was praying, and I really thought that my life was coming to an end. I was that ill. I would sweat all night long. Like I would sleep maybe about an hour and a half a night. Pam would have to, she was doing laundry like it was ridiculous, because I would be changing my clothes, the pajamas that I would wear to bed, the clothes I'd wear to bed. I would change them 2 to 3 times a night. I would change my sheets about 2 times a night, and my comforters 1, sometimes 2 times a night. They were soaked. Like when I say soaked, I mean, you could pick it up and wring it out. My liver was so unwell. My body was so unwell, and I was literally so toxic. My liver was almost failing. Like I went to everybody. We had the scans done. We had the tests done. We had everything. And all they could tell me was, wow, Rob, like, your liver's in really bad shape. Next step was, to do different biopsies and things like that and to figure out what's going on. Is there cancer present? Like what's happening? And I was just so sick. My body hurt. I couldn't sleep. I was anxious because I wasn't sleeping at all. And I thought, honest to God, I thought my life was over. And I remember laying in bed, praying to God and just going, Jesus, like, is this it for me? Like, is this going to be the end? Because I didn't want it to be, like I love my wife. I love my kids. My kids were young. They were so little at the time. Like I love my practice. I love my patients. I didn't want things to be over, but I really thought they were going to be. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience before, but I will never forget it. It was like at that moment in time, like God connected with me right then. And the next day I actually took those pictures of me in the bathroom, which I'll reflect on again. It was like a moment in time when God was just like, you're not going to die. Get your butt up out of bed and start healing yourself. Like, this is the gift I gave you. I gave you the gift of helping other people get well. You have that gift. Use it on yourself, dummy. I swear it was like as loud as day. And I was like, what am I doing? I was going to all these doctors, all these specialists, having all these tests. And really all I needed to do was do what I do with my patients every single day. Right. And the incredible thing is your body can heal. And I was able, like my belly right here, like it looks like it's fat, and it was very fat. And I was about 216 pounds here. This morning I was 168, but I was 216 pounds here. And a lot of this is fluid. It's because my liver couldn't detoxify the poisons. It was building up fluid in my abdomen. It's called ascites. I know it sounds like a Greek god, but clearly I didn't look like one, right? But I was really, really ill here. And the amazing thing is the body can heal, and that's what I did. I just did the things. I found the root causes to what was occurring with my body, the why, the right why, and I handled it and addressed it. And my body, thank God, immediately started responding. It's like as soon as I found that, like the right why, oh my God, my body incredibly started responding. My restless legs went completely away. My sinus problems went completely away. I lost like a bunch of weight just within like 2 weeks. I lost like 6 pounds or 7 pounds. It was remarkable. But the thing is, you got to find the root cause. So where do I like people to start? Well, there's a special that we're going to do tonight, and I just want to tell you about it. And then we're going to get into all the information that we got to get into. But there's a special assessment that's called the root cause assessment. And this is going to be on special tonight at the webinar. It's a tool that I've been using in my office since 1998. So I started using this in part since 1998. It's been a very long time. And this special for the webinar, it includes a consultation with one of our providers. It includes an assessment. So it's an actual examination-like procedure that's done remote. So it doesn't matter where you live on the planet, or it can be done in person. And then we do an evaluation and recommendations. So step 1 of this is what we call a phone or video root cause consultation. And this is a specialized consultative procedure created by me and is performed that's designed to point us in the direction of the possible root cause to a person's autoimmune disease, their health, or their weight problem, right? So this is a consultation I developed that really leaves no stone unturned. It helps us look at every single possible thing that could be connected or be a potential root cause for a person. It's very different. It's very different than any consultation that you'll experience. We've heard that a million times, that people got more out of just the consultation than they have working with their endocrinologist for years. So that's step one. Step two is what's called the root cause assessment. This is a specialized assessment developed by me, and it's performed on the eyes, tongue, and face. And this can be done through video, or it can be done through phone. Like a person could take pictures of their eyes, tongue, and face, and then we consult them over the phone and review this. And it's super, super easy. The first part of it is we use a procedure called sclerology to read the whites of your eyes. So each red line in the whites of a person's eyes can correlate with a weakness in different organs or glands, right? So it's kind of like someone might think like, oh, these red lines, it just means I have allergies, or maybe you didn't sleep well, or I don't know, maybe you poked yourself in the eye, right? But in truth, each one of those red lines, depending upon what it looks like and where it is, it's connected to a different organ and gland. So we know how to read these eyes. I got certified in sclerology back in, I think, 1998. So we understand how to read the whites of your eyes to understand which organ or gland in your body is really the one that's under stress, really the root cause behind what you're dealing with. Then we do what's called a tongue evaluation. So we use traditional Chinese medicine. And in traditional Chinese medicine, tongue diagnosis is the most important thing that you do, because we look at the bumps on the tongue, the dips, the discolorations, and any other abnormalities in specific parts of the tongue, because each abnormal area connects to a specific organ or gland. And that helps us get us even closer to the possible root cause. From there, we do a face reflexology analysis, because everyday blemishes and pimples and brown spots, people might just think, yeah, that's just, I got pimples there, or I got some hair growth here, or I just getting wrinkles in this area. Well, no, to us, it means a very specific thing, because different parts of your face actually correlate with different organs. So then what we do is we put everything together. We take the information from the root cause consultation, the information from your eye reading, the information from your tongue reading, and from your face reading. And from that, we put it all together, and we then make recommendations. We give you our evaluation, and we make those recommendations. And normally when a person comes into our office and we do that, it's $195 for us to do that. But tonight, for tonight's webinar, it's a special for this evening. It's only $19. So basically, you're saving $176, which is a huge savings. And there's going to be 50 of these available. And if you're interested, like if you have a chronic health problem, if you have a health problem, and you do want to get some expert help, then I encourage you to do this. I'm going to start the offer. So I'm publishing the offer right now. Not exactly sure where it pops up, but it pops up somewhere. And we have 50 of these that are available this evening. And again, this is different. So this type of procedure is definitely something that's unique. It's different. The cool thing is it can be done anywhere on the planet. You do not have to come into the office. All you have to do is just take some pictures of your eyes, take some pictures of your face, take some pictures of your tongue, and we can consult you. Or we just do everything over video. It's super, super easy. And it's definitely different. But me personally, I'm okay with things that are different, providing that they work. So the special tonight, it does expire at midnight. The purchase, that's spelled incorrectly, but the per KF limit is 4 per person. So that's the maximum amount you guys can purchase per person. And don't forget to stay until the end special, right? And also too, guys, for real, if you have a health problem, right, and you do really need some help or want some help, please take advantage of that special, because it's a pretty huge savings for yourself. And you're going to learn so much. Like, you really, really get some incredibly valuable information for only $19, and I think we've all spent $19 before pretty easily on things. So, so if you have a health or weight problem, you want to get some help, please take advantage of that. So, okay. All right. So that's the special for this evening. So let's go ahead and let's get into why you guys are here. Don't forget, stay until the end, because if you stay until the end, you get all this stuff. You get the thyroid supplement list, adrenal supplement list, all this stuff, the recipes, the smoothie recipes, the food list for deep liver cleansing, the adrenal stress toolkit, all this stuff you get, about a $100 to $200 value. The links are going to be given in the comment section for those towards the end-ish of the webinar. So, all right. So what cleanse should we do right now to start with? Like, There's a bunch of different cleanses. You could cleanse black mold. You can cleanse parasites. You can cleanse H. pylori. You can cleanse viruses. You can cleanse thyroid, adrenal, kidney, liver, gut. There's so many different cleanses you could do, but how do you know, right? How do you know where to start? Like, what cleanse should you start with? Well, you need to know that, which I'm going to teach you how to do that. And you also need an easy to follow, personalized plan that you can stick to. So it's got to be personalized for you. It's got to be set to you and for you. So how are we going to do this? We got to accomplish these two things. One, you got to know where to start. What's the right cleanse for you? And two, how are we going to do it? Well, it's a 4-step process. First thing we got to do is you have to be able to identify the problematic organ or gland. Like, is it your thyroid, liver, lymph, gut, adrenal, kidney, or gallbladder? I'm going to teach you how to do that. We're going to go through that. I'm going to teach you how to do that tonight, right now. And then you need to understand if there's a specific toxin connected to that body part. Like, is a yeast affecting the thyroid, or a bacteria, or a mold, or a virus, or a parasite, right? And then you need to do the proper cleanse. You need to know how to do the actual cleanse to support the improvement of that organ or gland. And then you actually have to do it, right? So it's a 4-step process. And remember, this is a mini masterclass. So these are basic cleanses. They are incredibly powerful, but they are basic cleanses. So this is not a full masterclass, right? It's a mini masterclass. Like, if it was a full masterclass, this wouldn't be a one-night event, right? This would be more like, for real, if this was an actual class, like a full masterclass, this would be about a 10-day event, because there's a lot of deep dive. You have to go into the physiology, anatomy of the body, and you have to understand how everything reacts, and it gets pretty deep. But regardless, the information you're going to get tonight is extremely powerful, and you're going to be able to use it as soon as this event is over. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is, for people, how does someone know if they need to start, like if their cleanse should be their thyroid? Like, maybe that's where they should start. Just because you're on thyroid meds or have abnormal thyroid labs, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to detox your thyroid, because something else might be the root cause. Like, there's people that have liver problems, and their liver's the cause of their thyroid, right? So it's like your liver converts your thyroid hormone. If your liver's sick, your thyroid hormones are not going to get converted. You're going to need to be on thyroid medication, because it's going to be like you don't have any thyroid hormone. But that's not a thyroid problem. That's actually a liver problem, right? So you have adrenal issues there's a bunch of stuff that could happen. But regardless, the point is, how do you know? Well, one of the best ways to know is understand a little bit more about the thyroid and the key symptoms that indicate, hey, a thyroid cleanse is where you should start. So the thyroid itself is located in front of your throat. So we know where the throat is. It's right in front of the throat. The thyroid controls all connections to metabolism, not some, most, or many. And the thyroid helps your cells function and heal. So the thyroid also controls the speed and rate at which you burn fat and make energy. So thyroid does a whole lot of stuff. The thyroid also controls mental thought. So when the thyroid's not working right, that can show up as brain fog, kind of like forgetfulness, kind of like a checked out look, maybe like how some of you are probably looking at me right now, maybe a bit checked out in the phones, right? So anybody know anybody like this? Maybe it's you, maybe it's a family member. Think about these type of symptoms. These indicate or start to indicate maybe thyroid would be the type of cleanse a person should do. They're going to have carbohydrate cravings typically. Other things controlled by the thyroid, cholesterol metabolism. So when thyroid hormone is low, cholesterol goes high. This is a big problem. I see this. It's so often that I used to see this in practice, like tremendously, where a person would come in and they're on statins or on a statin medication because their cholesterol is high. And then I check them out and I go, oh my God, you have undiagnosed, unidentified thyroid problems. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And then we start working on their thyroid. And the next thing you know, they don't need their statin anymore because their cholesterol is going so low. Their doctor's like, whoa, we got to stop your statin. They take them off the statin and then their cholesterol is totally normal. So low thyroid hormone or low thyroid hormone function can create high cholesterol. The other thing that can happen is thyroid hormone helps vitamin usage in the cell. So when thyroid hormone is not doing its job, you could take all these different supplements and you just don't see much improvement. You know, it's kind of like mediocre. Maybe it helps a little bit, but not significant. You know, I had this patient once. Her name was Joy. And Joy came to me years ago. And I'll never forget the first time I met her and her bag because I saw her walk in the front door. And I wasn't sure if she was carrying like hockey equipment or maybe she was, I don't know, going on a long vacation and didn't have suitcases. But Joy came into the practice with a duffel bag, probably about yo big. So it was a very large duffel bag. And Joy, I remember walking into the room with Joy, and she had it zipped up, and I sat down and we started talking and stuff like that. And Joy asked me, she's like, I really wanted to know, Dr. Rob, if you would be willing to review some of my supplements. And I said, sure, Joy. I mean, I'm happy to look at those for you. And I said, do you have them with you? She said, yeah. I said, are they in the bag? And she said, they sure are. And I said, Joy, is anything else in the bag? She said, nope. I said, so right there, you have a supplement bag, basically. And she said, yeah. And I opened this up. There was probably $3,500 worth of supplements. So I was like, okay, let me ask you, are you feeling any better? And she said, no, I feel miserable. Okay. These are probably not the right supplements for you. And all Joy really had, honestly, Joy had a thyroid issue. We had to do some work on her thyroid. We got her thyroid in great shape. And she only needed, I think after that, like 3 supplements. So she went from like 85 million in this bag to like 3, right? So the body's remarkable when you actually do the right thing with it. And Joy became even more of a joy when she got her body straightened out. So the thyroid also controls blood supply to the skin. So this can show up as dry skin, hair loss, nails that get rigid or that get brittle, and it can show up as excessive sleepiness. So these are all indicators that, okay, it's the thyroid that you probably need to cleanse, right? So it's the thyroid that you probably need to cleanse. These are indicators. That's what like these different things are here. So, okay, carrying on. So the thyroid then can show up as fatigue, menstrual problems. The feet can be cold. The hands can be cold. If you don't know if your feet are cold, ask your spouse. I promise they do. So, and the sex drive can be reduced. If you don't know if your sex drive is reduced, ask your spouse. I promise they do. So, and there could be constipation because thyroid hormone plays a big role in making your bowels move properly. So when we have these type of symptoms, it tells us you probably want to start with a thyroid cleanse. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a little bit. Okay. What do the changes to the body look like if you should cleanse your thyroid? Well, you have body weight issues, and it's usually weight all over. So it's not like just focus in your belly or like a pear shape in your lower half. It's you've gained weight all over. There's extra fat under the arm, often called bat wings. There can be large ankles. There can be loss of the outer 1/4 of the eyebrow and thinning hair. All these, again, linked to thyroid. Okay, so that gives you an idea if you should cleanse your thyroid, but how do you know if it might be your adrenals that you really need to cleanse or detox? Well, and again, guys, this is real important, right? Because we got to get the right why. If you don't have the right why, you're going to cleanse the wrong body part, and you're going to be like the 81% of the people who've tried cleanses and didn't see improvements, right? When we surveyed everybody at the beginning, I won't want you to be the 81%. I want you to be in the 19% that did a cleanse and was like, oh my Lord, that's the best thing that ever happened. So we got to make sure we're cleansing the right thing, which is why I'm taking the time to kind of go through this with you guys. So how do you know if it might be your adrenals? Well, I'll tell you. Here's some symptoms of adrenal fatigue and indicators that you need to cleanse your adrenals. 1, they're the stress glands of your body. So your tolerance to stress goes down, meaning you can't tolerate stress. Your body's made to tolerate stress. But if you can't, it could be weak adrenals and that your adrenals need to be detoxified. So how do you know if you can't tolerate stress? Well, your fuse is shorter. You yell at people more often. Maybe your spouse says you're not as nice to be around, right? I could tell you if no one wants to sit next to you on the couch during movie time, you either need to shower or maybe your fuse is a little bit shorter, right? So you know if your fuse is shorter, right? You're more snippy, you're more irritable, you're more just short-tempered, right? So do you guys know anybody like that? Can you picture anybody like that? If it's you, fair enough. If it's someone else, okay. But I just want you to try to kind of conceptualize that type of person, because that person who can't tolerate stress, who's shorter not in stature, but shorter in their ability to they have a shorter fuse, right? They get more irritated. These are kind of an indicator that they need to adrenal cleanse. So there can be anxiety or excessively worried, where the thyroid is going to be more depressed. The adrenal case is going to be more anxious. The mind's always going. They're always trying to solve problems. There's internal worry. The body can't relax. There's insomnia, but the type of insomnia that's most commonly connected to a person that needs to cleanse their adrenal glands is they'll wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning and they'll have trouble getting back to sleep. And they also wake up in the evening time. So if it's the adrenals that you need to cleanse, what you usually see is something like this. The person tries to go to bed And maybe they go to bed okay, or maybe they don't. They could be up, their wheels might be turning, they might be thinking. They eventually fall asleep, but then they wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning and they can't go back to sleep. Their mind is just going. They're like, what's going on here? My brain is going, please shut off. And they can't get it to turn off. Like it just won't turn off. It's like someone just turned their brain on and then took the key and went woof. And they're like, I'm stuck in the on position, right? And they're stuck like that for usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which is an hour and a half is your next sleep rhythm. And then they can kind of fall back to sleep. And sometimes the deepest sleep they get is right at the time that their alarm goes off. So like their alarm goes off and they're like, no, I want to snooze, right? So the adrenal case, if they need to adrenal cleanse, they'll snooze that alarm. And then, they kind of get up and they're tired. They're dragging their body in the morning. They get up. Sometimes they need a cup of coffee or some type of stimulant, or they take copious amounts of supplements or teas, yerba mate, and all kinds of stuff to get themselves going. They make it through the morning. They eat lunch. After lunch, they crash. They're just toast, right? They want a nap. I had one patient, she was a teacher. She used to go into the bathroom after lunch. She had space after then. She didn't have class right after that. And she would go into the bathroom, sit on the commode, put her head against the wall, and go to sleep. She would like take a 5-10 minute nap. She's like, Dr. Rob, I just need to recharge. I'm so exhausted after lunch. And we see that. Then they go throughout the day. They make it through the rest of the day. They eat dinner. And then something happens with the adrenal case that doesn't make sense. And it has to just do with the rhythm of the body being off, is they wake up in the evening. So when someone needs to adrenal cleanse, they wake up in the evening. The rest of the world is going to sleep. It's like 10, 11. Everyone else is like, oh, good night. And the adrenal case is like, ooh, who's on Facebook? Or, ooh, let's play some Candy Crush, or let's do something, right? They're on their phones. And it's simply because their rhythm is so off because their adrenals are just such a mess. So your adrenals play a huge role in maintaining your normal circadian rhythm. So that's the type of insomnia that you see. There's, of course, the daytime fatigue. The other thing you see when it's time to cleanse the adrenals is the adrenals regulate oxygen for your body. So you can walk up a flight of stairs and you're out of breath. Your legs get a heavy feeling. You don't get a second wind when you're exercising. You get lightheaded if you stand up too fast, right? You see these type of things when the adrenals need to be cleansed. The adrenals are also the anti-inflammatory glands of the body. So the body can fill up with inflammation, meaning something hurts. They'll swear it's from an old injury, but it's not. It's because their adrenals can no longer handle and address the inflammation that's present in their body. And the cravings they're going to crave is salt, and they'll have typically swelling in their ankles. So changes to the body shape for a person that needs to cleanse their adrenals, they're going to have belly fat. They're going to have at the base of their neck a little fat pad. So it's right like where their neck meets their upper back, they could have a little pad of fat there. Their face is going to be fuller or rounder than it used to be. So if they look at pictures of themselves for a while ago, they'll notice that their face is fuller or rounder. It's called a moon face. They're going to have dark circles under their eyes. They sometimes have a loss of their butt. So guys will be like, man, I don't know what happened. I used to squat and I used to have this good butt and now my butt's gone. And women will be like, I don't know where my butt went. I like my butt. It hurts when I sit down now. I don't have a butt. So their arms can be thinner. And in the later stages of the condition, when someone's in like stage 3 adrenal fatigue, they could actually start to appear frail because their body is essentially breaking down. It gets bad. But regardless, okay, so that's how to know if you should detoxify your thyroid. So if you have more of those thyroid detox symptoms, you want to start with the thyroid. If you have more of the adrenal, you want to start with the adrenal. Okay, so how do you know if you should start with the liver, lymph, or kidneys? Well, so the detoxification systems, we have the liver, we have the lymph, and we have the kidneys. The liver is about a 3-pound organ. It's the size of a football, sits underneath the right rib cage, has 694 functions. Main function is to detoxify poisons from the body. When it gets too overworked, it backs up like a toilet bowl, right? So that's the phenomena that's occurring. So when you see someone that has a beer belly, sometimes that beer belly is a mixture of fat and fluid. Like my beer belly I didn't drink alcohol at all. I haven't drank anything significantly, honestly, since July 4th of 1999. Right after that, I pretty much quit alcohol. I've had a few drinks here or there, but it's not something I partake in. But I had this big beer belly, and it's simply because the liver can't detoxify all the poison, so they start to build up as fluid in the belly. So this guy's gut right here is part fat and it's part fluid. The kidneys filter 200 quarts of blood each day. That's a lot of blood. They also activate vitamin D. So when you get sunlight on your skin, the vitamin D that basically gets created from the sunlight on your skin has to go to your kidneys to become active. So when people have low vitamin D levels, that's often connected to kidney issues. Now, there's 3 times more lymph fluid in your body than blood. That's a real interesting thing about lymph. Toxins can back up when the lymph is not detoxifying properly. Toxins can back up then into the fat because it's the lymph that cleans them out of the fatty areas. And these toxins then can back up into the fat, and then it makes it more challenging for a person to lose weight. So when a person has too many toxins in their body as a result of lymph, kidney, or liver issues, they typically are going to have skin problems. Like they're going to have itchy skin, hives, psoriasis, fungus, dandruff. They'll have red dots on the skin. They'll have brown age spots, right? They could have swelling in the lower legs, ankles, and feet. They could have swelling in their fingers. They could have bags, actual puffy bags, not dark circles. Dark circles are going to be more adrenals. This is puffy bags under the eyes, and they're going to have low vitamin D. So these symptoms start to tell you, okay, I should maybe start to look at my liver, lymph, or kidneys. The breath can be kind of foul or musty. Why? Well, because the kidneys, the liver, and the lymph, they clear toxins that enter the bloodstream. And if we don't clear those toxins and they enter the bloodstream, well, all your blood goes to your lungs. So if your blood is filled with smelly toxins and that blood goes to your lungs, you're going to have smelly breath. So, and you'll have changes to your body shape. When it's your liver, lymph, or kidneys, you can have this pot belly here. You'll have a thinner arm, legs, and butt. Like I didn't have much of a butt here. I got a pretty good booty now, I think. But here, the belly you can see is just so much fluid. This is all fluid and fat as well. But regardless, if you have more of the above symptoms, the ones that we just went over, as compared to thyroid or adrenal, then you probably need to look at detoxing your liver, lymph, or kidneys, but we got to narrow it down a bit. And this is how you narrow it down. So that was the general symptoms. So if you have those general symptoms and you have more of those general symptoms we just covered than thyroid symptoms or adrenal symptoms, then you need to detox your kidneys, liver, or lymph. And here's how you know which one you need to start with. Kidneys are going to give you lower back pain, cloudy urine, kidney stones. But the big thing is it's going to give you fluid in the lower legs. It can also give you problems with your electrolytes, history of bladder infection, lower high blood pressure, constantly thirsty, fatigue, and it can create a deadness in the body due to low electrolytes. But the big thing you're going to focus on is if you have fluid retention and that fluid's in the lower legs, that's usually kidneys. If you have a pot belly, so fluid is in the abdomen, and you have foul breath, armpit odor, brown aging spots, and other symptoms of hormonal imbalances, but normal hormone labs, that's probably your liver. But your liver, your kidneys are going to collect fluid in the lower legs. Your liver is going to collect fluid in your belly. Your lymph collects fluid everywhere. So everything becomes puffy. Your face is puffy. Your arms are puffy. A woman's breasts can become more swollen and engorged. Their legs, inner thighs, guys and girls, legs, inner thighs, buttocks, everything can actually start to swell. Hands, feet, toes, really everything, because their body is creating this fluid everywhere. And they can have extra weight, especially under their arms, sinus congestion, puffy body, autoimmune issues, joints can hurt, and they could have a weaker immune system. This is how you break down like which one of these 3 you're in. So the first set of symptoms we went over, that tells us we compare those to we compare those to adrenal and to thyroid, and we go, okay, which one are we more of? And if you have more of these toxicity type symptoms, then we go, okay, is it kidney, liver, or lymph? And then you just break it down and you go, okay, I'm more kidney, or I'm more liver, or I'm more lymph, right? So that's kind of how we do that. All right, so how do we know if we should gut cleanse? Gut cleanse is really obvious. You have obvious gut symptoms: constipation, diarrhea, IBS, heartburn, indigestion, sinus problems, clearing of the throat, bloating, skin peeling on the soles of your feet, tender abdomen, light colored stools. So all this type of stuff here tells us, okay, you probably need to cleanse your gut. Changes in body shape with the gut, it can be often anything. You can have a bloated abdomen, and it's better. The bloating decreases when you're not eating. And the abdomen itself can be kind of hard. But other than that, there's no specific changes other than that you see really with the gut. Okay, gallbladder. How do you know if you should flush your gallbladder? Well, you'll have pain under your right rib cage, tenderness under your right rib cage, positive inhalation breath test, which is if you take a deep breath in and someone pushes under your right rib cage, you're going to go, ow. Okay. That's going to kind of look like this. This is how you know. This is one of the telltale signs on how to know if you need to cleanse your gallbladder. So you take a deep breath in, you go, and then you come right here, right under the ribs, and you come up, in, and under, and you push in here. And if you push and you're like, oh, like that's sore. Oh, yeah, that's a bit, oh, that kind of hurts under there. That is strongly indicative of you need to flush your gallbladder, right? And if it's that tender, you should get your gallbladder checked out. You should see your doctor and you should get at least an ultrasound and see what's happening in there and make sure there's no stones in the ducts or anything like that. But that is a good test to indicate if there are problems with the gallbladder. So, all right, so the cleanses. So how do we do these cleanses? Now we're going to break down, just so you guys know, we are going to break down the parasite cleanse, mold cleanse for black mold, like when to know how to use those, virus cleanse for Epstein-Barr, those type of things. We're going to do that, but we have to identify the organ system first, and we have to understand the basic cleanses for those organ systems, and then we're going to learn how to attack the actual bugs. Okay, so it goes, just to make sure that you guys are following me. So it goes like, first thing we're doing is we have to identify the correct organ system. Remember, 81% of the people failed on doing a detox before, probably because they were doing the wrong detox. So step one, we have to identify the right organ system. Step two, once you've identified the right one, like, oh yeah, it's my liver. I know it's my liver. Okay, great. You have to learn the basic cleanse on how to flush the liver. And then you go, okay, now what's affecting the liver? Is it a yeast, a bacteria? Is it virus? Do I have Epstein-Barr maybe in my liver? Is it a parasite? Is it black mold? Is it potentially a mold or something like that? Okay, if it is, then what extra do you need to do to bump that out of the organ? So it's a mini masterclass. So it's not just a little bit of information. You guys are getting a lot of info tonight. Okay, so the cleanses. Okay, so we're going to get, like I said, to the specific pathogen cleanse shortly, but let's heal together. So for those of you that are just popping on the webinar, I do want to take a brief pause and just explain the special that we have tonight, because some people I know, they're on the West Coast and they maybe are just coming on to the webinar right now. Well, for you guys or wherever you are, if you're just popping on, we do have an awesome special tonight, which is the Root Cause Assessment Webinar Special. This is a tool that I've used in my office in part since 1998. And it includes a consultation with one of our providers, an assessment. So it's an actual examination-like procedure that can be done from a million miles away. Well, maybe not a million because that would be outside of Earth, but thousands of miles away for sure. Or it can be done right in the office. It also includes an evaluation and recommendations. Step one is we do a phone or video root cause consultation. This is a specialized consultative procedure that I developed that allows our providers to leave no stone unturned when we are talking to you. I'm sure some of you have had the experience where you're sitting down and talking with a provider and you know he is counting the seconds on his watch until he has to get to his next patient. That is not the case here. It is the exact opposite. We are really asking you very specific questions to get the answers to what potentially might be the true root cause to the chronic health or weight problem you have. From there, we then do what's called the root cause assessment. And this is a specialized assessment developed by me that's performed on your eyes, your tongue, and your face. And it can be done anywhere on the planet. You could just take pictures of your eye, tongue, and face, or we can do a video. And while we're videoing you, like we're, doing a Zoom call, during the Zoom call, we could look at your eyes, tongue, and face. Put your eye up to the camera, tongue up to the camera, face up to the camera. Easy, easy peasy. Just like you're right there. So we use a procedure to evaluate your eyes called sclerology. I got certified in this back in 1998. And this helps us read the whites of your eyes. So for the average person, they might go, yeah, I got red lines in the whites of my eyes. Big deal. I didn't sleep that much. Or I'm a habitual eye rubber. I just can't stop rubbing my eye. Or I have allergies. That's why I have the red lines. Yeah, we get all that. There's different types of red lines, and we know how to detect the red lines that are not from those things, but the red lines that are telling a story. And that story is, hey, man, your brain is in trouble, specifically the hippocampus in your brain, or your stomach valve is in trouble, or your gallbladder is in trouble. It allows us to know the main parts of your body that are stressed by reading these red lines in the whites of the eyes. From there, we use traditional Chinese medicine to do the most important thing in traditional Chinese medicine, which is tongue diagnosis. And we look at the bumps, the dips, the discolorations. Do you have red dots? Do you have white coating on your tongue? Is there a yellow coating? Do you wake up in the morning and is your toothbrush like kind of have some blood on it from your gums? You know, like what's happening with the tongue? What's happening with the mouth? This allows us to understand again, because each part of the tongue is also connected to different organs and glands. And the tongue's appearance tells us a lot. So, and then we use face reflexology, meaning everyday blemishes, pimples, and brown spots and markings might mean nothing to the average person, but to us, each location on the face also connects to a different organ or gland. And this brings us closer and closer and closer to what we do in step 3, which is we put it all together. So we take the information that you gave us in the consultation, the information we got from your eye evaluation, your tongue evaluation, and your face evaluation, and then we give you recommendations. And normally in our clinic, when someone does that, it's $195. And tonight, it's only $19, guys. So, and we are doing 50 of these tonight. Currently, we have, let's see if we have, how many we have left. This ticker thing sometimes is not functional. It doesn't work the way it should be working. So I think we have right now 28 left, it looks like. I'm guessing. I don't know. Or maybe 27 because it just ticked. So I think someone maybe just bought 1 or 2 because now we're at 26. But regardless, we have 50 of these. Guys, they're only $19. So think about it, you know, how often we drop $19 on something, right? We can easily go out to lunch and spend $19 for ourselves and our kids. So if you have a health or a weight problem that you want help with, you just want to get more information, you want some answers that you're not getting, this is the evaluation for you. I really started working on this back in 1998. It is an incredible procedure. You will probably learn more. We've had people tell us that they've learned more from this evaluation than they have in working with other holistic doctors or with working with their own medical doctor for years. They learn more in just this one visit. And knowledge is power and is essential when you are trying to heal yourself. So please take advantage of this, guys. Just click on the link wherever the offer is. I know Bethany or Alexandra, they put the link at the top of the chat section. You could click it there, or wherever the offers are located on your page, you can click the offers and you can go over there and get yourself signed up for one of these $19 root cause assessments. I promise you, it'll be worth the $19. You're going to feel like you ripped us off because, no, for real, it's really, it's so worth that. And you're worth that. That's the truth. We all are, you know, we all deserve to be healthy. So regardless, this can be done anywhere on the planet. It doesn't matter where you live. And yeah, it's different. But me, I'm okay with things that are different, providing they work. And all I can tell you is this has an incredible track record attached to it. So I think there's a good chance of it working. So please, if you have a health problem and want some help, take advantage of that. Click on the link and do what you need to do. And again, this special is tonight up until midnight tonight. And it looks like we have right now 22 available, maybe. I'm trying to see here. 21, excuse me. We have 21 available. It's really small on my screen. So it's hard for me to see 20. Guys, if you want one, please take advantage before they go, before they run out. Okay. Oh, yes. And limit is 4 per person. Okay, stay until the end special. Don't forget, stay until the end. You get all this amazing stuff. Stay until the end. All this stuff is for you. A $100 to $200 value for free just by staying to the end. These links will go out in the comment section at the end of the webinar tonight. Okay, so here are the cleanses. Okay, so first thing you have to understand is all of these cleanses must have a good liver supporting supplement. What do I mean by that? Well, there's some things that you need to do any one of these cleanses. Like if you're going to cleanse yeast, parasites, bacteria, mold, fungi, viruses, if you're going to cleanse your liver, your gallbladder, your thyroid, your adrenals, your gut, your lymph, you all have to have one thing, which is a good supporting liver supplement. And this is basically what you need. You need about 200 milligrams of milk thistle. And you can find these combinations online. Like I said, I'm not here to promote my own products. I'm not trying to get people to go and buy my supplements or anything like that. So there's no links. You're not going to find any links to any of my supplements, and I'm not going to mention them here. But you need about 200 milligrams of milk thistle. You need 100 milligrams of dandelion. And it's okay if it's like 250 or 150 milk thistle, or maybe 275, or maybe the dandelion 75 or 50. But you got to have somewhat of a balance. About 200 milligrams of milk thistle, 100 milligrams of dandelion root, 100 milligrams of pico rhiza. Pico rhiza was shown to protect people that have had fatty liver. It helped to reverse fatty liver disease, an incredible liver detoxifier. Dandelion root helps the liver move bile through it. So bile is where the liver dumps its toxins. So milk thistle helps the liver to detoxify. It also protects the liver from damage, right? So these herbs are very specifically chosen. Parsley, 50 milligrams of parsley, 50 milligrams of burdock, and 50 milligrams of Spanish black radish. Parsley, for example, helps glutathione in your body work more effectively. Glutathione is, according to the research you're looking at, either the most powerful or the second most powerful antioxidant in your body. And parsley, concentrated parsley, helps your liver and helps your body utilize glutathione and really kind of make glutathione indirectly. So this is where you want to start all of your cleanses. You got to get a good basic supplement. Your liver supplement should either have, or you could purchase separately, a basic methylating B vitamin combination. So you want methylcobalamin, which is methyl B12. That's a form of B12. You need 25 micrograms a day, not cyanocobalamin, not hydroxycobalamin, methylcobalamin or cobalamin. And then you need a very specific form of folic acid. This is not folic acid. It's a form of folic acid. It's a methylated form. It's called so write this down or screenshot this, guys. It's called methyl tetrahydrofolic acid. Small amount. Too much equals you'll over-methylate. There's a guy who was taking too much. There's a guy, here, I'll just tell you because this is important. So there was a guy who was not an alcoholic, but he was pretty close, drank a lot every day. And he took a lot of methylfolate, this particular form, methyl-tetrahydrofolic acid, glucosamine salt. So he took a lot of that, and it was good because it helped his liver to detoxify the alcohol. And then he stopped drinking alcohol, and he was off alcohol for a while, but he kept taking this same amount, which was a lot of methylfolate. The guy literally started having acoustic hallucinations, meaning he started hearing stuff. He was like walking down the stairs, and he would hear like, "Don't go there." He'd be like, "What?" And he'd hear, "Don't go there. It's bad down there." He'd be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And he literally started hearing this stuff. Well, the good news was all he had to do was stop the methylfolate or reduce it back to a very small amount, and he was totally fine. So as long as you're not drinking, a fifth of gin a day, followed by a 6-pack of Heineken at night, you'll be fine with the 75 micrograms tops. I like 50 micrograms personally of this particular form of methylfolate. And then you need pyridoxal 5-phosphate. So pyridoxine or pyridoxine HCl is vitamin B6, but we don't want that form because it's inactive. Your body has to activate it. We want the active form. It's called P5P or pyridoxal 5-phosphate. So methylcobalamin, so this is the active form of B12, the active form of folic acid that can methylate, and pyridoxal 5-phosphate, the active form of B6. This is what you need. What's methylation? Well, do you guys really want to know? Should I spend much time on this? I guess I'll cover it just a little bit, since this is kind of like a term that's being thrown around a lot now, but a lot of people don't really know what it is. So I'll just tell you real quick. If you want me to go more into detail, I will look in the chats and I will go into as much detail as you guys would like. But I'll just tell you the basics and then I'll look at the chat. So basically methane is a gas, and it's C carbon with 4 little H's. So it's like a carbon atom, and then there's a hydrogen atom, a hydrogen atom, a hydrogen atom, and a hydrogen atom. So that's methane. Okay, so think methyl. This is methane. Well, a methyl, this is methane. Okay, CH4, a C carbon and 4 hydrogens. A methyl group is CH3 with, look at this, we got nothing there, but there's something we can put there. So it's a carbon atom, and we have 3 hydrogens, and we have this empty space. So back here we have methane because we have a carbon atom And all 4 of these little poles here, these are called bonds, all 4 of these little bonds are connected to a hydrogen. Well, over here in a methyl group, we have a CH3, not a CH4. We have a CH3, a carbon with these 3 hydrogens. So we have this open thing. It's like, whoa, we got this little thing here that could bind to stuff. And what does it bind to sometimes? Well, stuff like chlorine. And we make methyl chloride, right? So we can bind to things. This little methyl group helps us bind to certain substances that allow us to make neurotransmitters. It helps to bind to certain substances that helps us get rid of certain toxins in the body, right? Here it's binding to chlorine to handle this chlorine, right? So your liver supplement must have methylating B vitamins, but this is kind of the breakdown. I'm just going to look in the chats real quick to see if you guys want me to expand on that or if that's a pretty good response for you guys. Let's see. Methyl vitamins good for MTHFR gene. So Diana, methyl vitamins can be great for and sometimes essential for the MTHFR gene. There's 2 types you have to look at, C677T and A129HC. Those are the 2 different versions of the MTHFR gene. The A129HC is not really too big of a deal, but people that have the C677T variation, those guys can have problems because up to 70%, I'm one of those guys, lucky me, up to 70% of their folic acid might not be methylated. So those guys, if they take straight folic acid, it's like poison to their body. So they shouldn't take straight folic acid. Dan wants to know, what is MTHFR? I think that's what it was, Dan, right? The little question. So MTHFR is a gene. Methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase is the name of the gene. And I won't get too much into it, but it's a gene that essentially turns folic acid into methyl folic acid. And people that have problems with that gene, they can't do that. They can't turn folic acid into methyl folic acid. And that might sound like not that big of a deal, but it's a huge deal because it's like having a deficiency in folic acid, as well as the methyl group, that methyl folate does a tremendous amount of things in the body, regulating neurotransmitters, plays a role in detoxification, immune function, all kinds of liver functionality it's involved in. It's involved in a lot of stuff. It gets rid of homocysteine in the body, which can lead to damage of the arteries and strokes and all kinds of stuff. So it's really, really important. MTHFR, if you ever want to get it checked but you have to look at your, you have to look at your, Jess wants to see the pics again. Jess, the pics of me being fat or the pics of the methane? What causes all these neck moles? Well, we'll get into that at the end. I'll answer any questions you guys have like that. I'll definitely answer at the end for you guys. Okay. So you guys really want to know about neck moles. Okay. I promise I'll answer that. Good. Yep, this is the live chat, Lisa. Yep, it's right here. Okay, so I think I answered the methyl stuff. I can go on. I feel comfortable. But that's basically what it is. That's your that is your methylfolate. Okay, so people want to know how much peroxidyl 5-phosphate. Yeah, duh, doc. Why don't you put it up there? 5 milligrams. Somewhere between like 1 and 10 milligrams. It's the active form. You don't need a ton of it. So yeah, okay. So remember, not cyanocobalamin, hydroxycobalamin, not folic acid, folinic acid, or folate, not peroxidine. It's the ones here. These are the ones that you want. Okay, cool. Good. All right. So good. We got that. Okay. So now if you can't take, some people are allergic to the thistle family, so they can't take milk thistle. So what do those guys need? So I'm not going to tell you the name of this product, not because I'm a jerk, but because I'm not trying to sell anybody's stuff and I'm not trying to promote any supplements. I'm really not trying to do that here. But this gives you an example. If you guys want to screenshot this, this gives you an example of, for someone who's sensitive to thistle and can't do milk thistle, this is a great amino acid blend that's going to be similar to, not as good for sure as what I just recommended previously. But as you could see here, that has the methylfolate in it. Milligrams are a little higher, 85 micrograms. That's okay. It has the methylcobalamin in here. It doesn't have the B6. They do have selenium in this product, and it has an unbelievable array of detoxifying amino acids, we're looking at N-acetylcysteine, glycine, alanine, asparagine monohydrate, glutamine, histidine, serine, threonine, alpha lipoic acid. So this is a great liver detoxifier right over here. Okay, cool. So first supplement slide again. Someone wants to see that? Okay, sure. I'll send that to you right there. You got that one and you got that one. Okay. So cool. Hope that helps. Give you a second to click on stuff. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the cleanses. How do we cleanse? Okay. So April wants to know, how long is this going to be? April, well, it depends how many questions you guys have. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. Like I said, it's a mini masterclass, right? So this is not just like a 45-minute webinar or an hour webinar. And it's also not a masterclass where it's, a 7-day or 10-day educational platform, or like something where someone's taking a course, like a masterclass course. It's a mini masterclass. So we're probably going to go, I would say probably another 30 to 45 minutes, I would say roughly, because we're going to get into the cleanses now. Now's the best part, April. Don't leave now. Hang out. Let's go. All right, let's go. I'll be fast. I'll stop chatting. Ann says I have dark spots on my face. Started when I began being in the sun a lot. I don't have other symptoms though. Okay. All these questions, I promise I will answer all these stuff. Bethany and Alexandra too, make sure you can help some of these guys that have different questions. Like Bethany says, can you address thyroid nodules? Yeah, we're going to cover that right now. But my Bethany might have something to say to you, Bethany, here in the chat, or Alexandra might. So guys, please make sure you're chatting with these guys. Thanks. Okay, cool. So let's go the 4-week general thyroid cleanse. So this is the general thyroid cleanse for people that have more of the thyroid symptoms. You got more of the thyroid symptoms, you could do that. Okay, doing this particular cleanse can also help to detoxify the brain, support healthy blood flow to the skin, hair, and nails, and also improve fatty acid oxidation, which is awesome. And it could also remove thyroid weight loss blocks, like chlorine, fluorine, and bromine, which we'll get into in a little bit, and reset fat burning metabolism. Okay, general layout of the day. So what does it look like? A person gets up and they're like, hey man, I'm up. I want to detox my thyroid. How's the day just look? Well, the first thing is you're going to intermittent fast. You're going to fast for 18 hours. You're going to eat for 6. And the reason why is that sparks the thyroid's metabolism. Skipping that first meal in a day does not hinder thyroid metabolic activity. It actually accelerates it. So it's optimal to skip your breakfast, make your first meal maybe around 12, eat 12 to 6. You're done eating at 6 at night, and that's it. You eat the next day at 12 noon. So you're going to eat 2 to 3 meals during that 6-hour period. And you're going to eat a carb, protein, and a fat with each meal. Now, it's outlined. I'm going to show you exactly what that is in a second. You're going to drink sage tea during your fasting period. So you're going to wake up and you're going to go, okay, I'm awake. It's 7 a.m., it's 6 a.m., it's 8 a.m., whatever time you wake up. And you're like, well, I'm not going to eat for the next 4 to 6 hours. What am I going to drink? Well, you're going to drink water and sage tea. You drink generally 1 to 2 cups. That's going to have a very specific effect on helping to detoxify the thyroid and supporting metabolic optimization when the thyroid is toxic. So sage tea is actually a fairly important thing to do. You're going to also take the needed supplemental support during this time. And of course, you're going to run it by your licensed healthcare provider before embarking on anything, as this is just educational information. Thank you. Anita says leaky gut. Anita, yes, I'm going to be covering leaky gut, but Bethany might have a message to send to you privately about leaky gut, or Alexandra might. Bethany, Alexandra, make sure you're paying attention to people's questions and you're answering them appropriately. Good. Okay, intermittent fast. So you will eat 6 hours a day. If you have adrenal symptoms, though, so if you're more thyroid, but you do have some adrenal symptoms, then you're going to go to an 8-hour eating window. So you will, instead of fasting for 18 and eating for 6, you will fast for 16 and eat for 8. So you're going to span your eating window a little bit. The adrenals, we'll get into the adrenals in a little bit, but they need more food than the whatchamacallit does. So Arozana says, does this cleanse work for someone who struggles with thyroid but also has diabetes? Yes, it can be a great cleanse for someone like that. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm killing your name. Aranza. Aranza. Did I say it? I hope I said it right. I'm sorry. Aranza. So Bethany or Nicole can also send you some additional information on that as well. But you will eat 6 hours a day. If adrenal symptoms are present, then you'll go to 8-hour eating window. Okay, detox foods. So the detox foods, you're going to have moderate amount of protein, about 35 to 65 grams a day. You're going to do a moderate amount of fats, about 60 to 100 grams a day. You're going to do low to moderate carbohydrates, about 50 to 100 grams a day. You're going to do lower calories when you're detoxing the thyroid. Lower calories is essential to help levitate the toxins up and out of the thyroid. If you have Graves' disease or hyperthyroidism, you want to actually increase your calories to about 1,500 to 2,400 a day because you guys are burning. You guys are burning calories fast. Okay, so we do need protein, and you have to have a protein that's high in tyrosine. And I want to explain what that is because this is very important for a thyroid detox. So you have these little, protein is made of these little tiny pieces called amino acids, right? So these amino acids, when you put them together, they make different types of protein. There's a particular type of amino acid called tyrosine, and your thyroid gland desperately needs tyrosine. So foods that are high in tyrosine, well, vegan foods, if you're more of a plant-based eater, you guys still need 35 to 65 grams per day of tyrosine. Well, where can you get it pretty easily? Well, I'll tell you, if you do something like this, like a cup of navy beans, like just white cup of navy beans, 1 cup has 490 milligrams of tyrosine, which is 56% of the recommended daily intake, right? So right there, lentils are a great source of tyrosine. Split peas, red kidney beans, black beans, any type of legume for the most part is a wonderful source of tyrosine. It's digestible, it's absorbable when you have thyroid issues. So we want a moderate amount of protein, again, that's high in tyrosine. Other sources, for some people can't do beans, but they can do seeds. So 1 handful of hemp seeds, 1 handful of pumpkin seeds has 306 milligrams of tyrosine, or 35% of your recommended daily intake. A handful of hemp seeds has 41% of the amount of tyrosine you need. Toasted sesame seeds are a good source. Sunflower seeds are okay, and chia seeds are okay. So if you're going to do them, so I do want to just point some things out. So I don't have any connection with any of these brands or anything like that. But if you're going to do pumpkin seeds and you have thyroid problems or any problems, and you're going to do pumpkin seeds, you want to get activated, sprouted pumpkin seeds, or you want to sprout them yourself. So it means you soak them overnight in water, and you want to make sure you buy them raw. So, or you buy them already activated, sprouted seeds. Sunflower seeds, you don't have to buy like that, but you do want to get them raw, and you do want to get them organic. So all your seeds should be organic. And the reason why is some seeds and nuts, like walnuts, man, it's gross. They spray walnuts after they shell them. So they shell them, and then they spray them with a potent antifungal, anti-pesticide. So it soaks right into the nuts. So it's not even like a fruit, like an apple. You know, they'll spray the apple with pesticides, and the pesticides have to soak through the skin to get into the apple, right? They also spray the ground, and it comes up through the roots. But at least there's like some type of barrier, not really. But what they do with a walnut, it'd be like peeling all the skin off the apple and then just spraying it right into the flesh of the fruit. It's literally insane that they're able to sell this stuff to people, and the FDA doesn't do anything to protect us from that, because some of that stuff is not even allowed in other countries. Some of the stuff they spray walnuts with is only allowed in America and India. Go figure. It's crazy. So any event, I digress. Okay. So some other or some great fat sources for the thyroid. Here's awesome fat sources. Brazil nuts, super high in selenium, which is great for the detoxification of the thyroid. Chia seeds, black seed oil, as well as black seeds, coconut oil, olive oil, hemp seeds are a complete plant-based protein for the thyroid. Wild-caught salmon is a great fat and protein for the thyroid. I like a wild Alaskan company. They have very clean salmon with low levels of toxicity, and it's also sustainably caught. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys is black seeds. Black seeds are incredible for detoxification and inflammation support for the thyroid. So this is like really, 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 really good. So you wanna try to get some black seeds in your diet. And hemp seeds, these guys, you just want to make sure you got them shelled already. So these are organic shelled hemp seeds. And there's 10 grams of protein, right, in one serving. Plus you got 45% of the US RDA of magnesium, and it's absorbable form of magnesium. Also, great source of like B1, which is great for thyroid function, and iron, which is needed for thyroid function. So tons of great nutrition there. And the pumpkin seeds are also a really good source of zinc, which is needed to convert T4 to T3, T4 being inactive thyroid hormone, T3 being active thyroid hormone. So lots of good stuff in those nutrients. So the carbs we want are different than you might think. The carbs you want for thyroid detoxification are things like berries, all berries, blue, black, ras, straw, berries, apples, pears, kiwi. Black rice is about the only grain that's good in thyroid detoxification. It has a similar profile as blueberries. So similar antioxidant profile as blueberries. So black rice is good. And wild rice, which is not really a rice, but a seed, is also really good. Okay, special foods that benefit thyroid health. So we went over most of these. The thing that I want to cover here, there's one key thing out of this that I want to cover, which is, okay, if you have, so sea vegetables are great for thyroid detoxification. Things like wajiki, which is a seaweed, dulse, nori, kelp. These are incredible for thyroid detoxification, but not if you have Graves' disease or hyperthyroidism. You don't want iodine, high iodine, if you have hyperthyroidism or Graves. The other thing is, if you have primary hypothyroidism, those are great. All those iodine vegetables I just mentioned, they're phenomenal. But if you have Hashimoto's, you also don't want too much iodine or zero iodine. 10% of the cases that have Hashimoto's will do great with iodine. The other 90% will worsen their case. And believe me, they will worsen their case. I had a patient once years ago, and she had thyroid problems, and she was seeing a chiropractor, and he's like, yeah, my chiropractor told me to take prolamine iodine from Standard Process, which is a fine product. And I said, well, you have Hashimoto's, you shouldn't take that. And she said, well, he told me to take it, so I'm going to take it. I said, well, you shouldn't. You have Hashimoto's. And she's like, well, I'm going to take it. And it's like, okay, we'll take it. So her TSH, I think, was like 2.1 at the time, which is fine. And then she started taking the prolamine iodine, and she's like, she gets her TSH text, and she calls us, and she goes, I don't know what's going on, but my TSH, my thyroid stimulating hormone, it's like 7.2. And we're like, yeah, it's because you're taking the prolamine iodine. She's like, no, I don't think it's from that. And we're like, no, it's because you're taking the iodine. Stop taking the iodine. You have Hashimoto's. And she's like, no, I really don't think it's from that. I'm like, okay. So she keeps taking the iodine. She calls us back. She's like, my God, it's like 16. My TSH is 16. We're like, are you going to stop taking the iodine now? She's like, I'm going to stop taking the iodine. I'm like, good. So she stops taking iodine, listens to us. Her TSH goes right back down to normal. So iodine is not specifically good for people that have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, Graves' disease, or hyperthyroidism. So you want to avoid that. Now, cruciferous vegetables, kale, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts are great for thyroid detoxification when you have Hashimoto's, hyperthyroidism, or Graves' disease. But they're not good when you have primary hypothyroidism. So people that have primary hypothyroidism, we want the iodine, but not too much cruciferous. People that have Graves, hyperthyroidism, or Hashimoto's, we don't want the iodine, but we want all the cruciferous vegetables. So I just want to make that distinction. That's pretty important when you're going through detoxification here. Helena wants to know what the prices are for a consultation. Is this $19? Bethany, please make sure you message Helena here. I don't think she got a message, or maybe she did. Maybe I don't see it. I don't know. Okay, cool. Or Alexandra, somebody message her. So yeah, so $19. That's what it is for the consultation. That's all. Normally $195, but it's only $19. Sorry, I'm having problems with my thingamabobber here. All right, so let me quickly see if there's any other questions that just came up here. Good. So Sylvania wants to know, will I be sending a recording of this? No, Sylvania, there'll be no recording of this, but if you stay to the end, you get all the handouts. Okay, cool. All right, so let's carry on. Carry on my wayward. Okay, foods to avoid. So when you're detoxing the thyroid, what are the foods that you avoid? The big thing that I'm going to tell you guys to avoid right now, like you could avoid things like millet and pearl millet and that type of stuff. Yeah. And you could avoid things that are like high in estrogens, like flaxseed. But the big thing you want to avoid is high mercury fish. So for example, salmon compared to tuna, the tuna and mercury, you have 1,672% more mercury in tuna than you have in salmon. You never want to eat swordfish, just ever anyway. But to give you an idea, there's 4,523% more mercury in swordfish than salmon. You don't want to eat things like Chilean sea bass, really high in mercury, shark, swordfish, king mackerel, tuna. These guys it's really, and mercury is toxic. I'm sorry. It blocks iodine from getting into the thyroid, causes inflammation in the thyroid gland, causes inflammation in the brain, it degrades the nervous system. There was a woman, to give you an idea how poisonous mercury is, there was a woman, she was a scientist, and she was involved in research, and she was the reason why they created what's called a double gloving policy, which now I think they just have thicker gloves. But back in the day, they would just wear single gloves when they would handle methyl mercury, and it was fine. She got a little tiny tear in her glove. She got 1 drop of methyl mercury on her skin. Within 3 days, she was in a wheelchair. Within 3 weeks, she was dead. So that's how toxic mercury is. So you really don't want this stuff in your body, whether it's coming in the form of seafood or what. And if you do, you want to make sure you know how to detoxify it. Okay, only seafood I'll eat is wild caught. Any of these guys on the list: salmon, sardines, calamari, octopus, tilapia. It's all got to be wild caught. And it's got to be sustainably caught, and it's got to be wild caught in the right place. So, okay, 4-week general thyroid cleanse. Now remember, you got to have that basic liver support in place. With the herbs and the methylfolate and stuff like that. So, and then there's some nutrients that you need. Again, I'm not selling any products, so I'm not going to give you guys any links or anything like that. You can find most of this stuff online. And again, I'm not trying to sell my own products and stuff that have some of these things in them. So that's not the intention. The intention is to give you guys the data, and then you can source them however you feel is economically best for you. Okay, so what you want to do. So curcumin C3 complex, 750 milligrams. Paractin, 250 milligrams. Paractin is the bomb. It is the bomb when it comes to thyroid problems. This stuff is just incredibly anti-inflammatory and helps to stop any type of immunological onset or inflammation in the thyroid gland that you see in just about every thyroid case. So really incredible. Selenium, 100 micrograms, inositol, 200 micrograms, zinc, 10 milligrams. And you want to check your vitamin D levels. If it's low, you want to supplement somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 IUs per day. So I'm going to tell you about the guys in bluish purple in a second, but this is the main thing you want. You want to do the eating program I just recommended, and you want to take these supplements, and you want to be on these supplements for 4 weeks. You want to do this whole cleanse for 4 weeks. If you have hyperthyroidism, you're also going to add bugleweed lemon balm. If you have primary hypothyroidism, you're going to add 225 micrograms of iodine. So those are your differences. Everybody does all of these. People with hyperthyroidism, they also add bugleweed and lemon balm. That's the HTR. And people with primary hypothyroidism, not Hashimoto's, they do also iodine. Okay. All right. Adrenals. Adrenals? What's an adrenal? Adrenals. So how do we cleanse these adrenals? What's this 4 weeks cleanse look like for the adrenals? Let me see. So someone just said they're trying to buy the consult, but there's problems. What's happening? There's problems with the page. It's not loading or something. Oh no, that's not fair. Oh, okay. Bummer. Okay. All right. All right. Fair enough. So here's what we'll have to do. Oh, I had to do the same thing in the last webinar. Okay. All right. So one of the things that's happening, so I thought we had this resolved with our IT guy. I guess we hadn't. So I do apologize for this. When a lot of people go on one web page at one time, it slows the web page down, and someone might try to jump on it and then they can't get on it. And right now we have, let's see, we have, it looks like 10 of these available right now. So we have 10 left for the evening of the specials, but some people, I think they went onto the page and they tried to get on and they couldn't get on the page because too many other people were on the page trying to purchase the special. So it wouldn't let them in the page. It's like the bandwidth, they were full. They were like, sorry, we're full. Can't let anybody in. So that's not fair. So I just actually had this happen. I'm sorry about that, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the special. So I'm going to remove the 50 cap. So we're not going to cap it at 50 because it's not fair. You know, if someone was trying to get in and they should have been able to buy the special and then they couldn't get in, that's not fair to them. So what I'll do is I'll have to talk with Pam, but I think we'll just let it run the whole night, and you guys can purchase until the morning, and then sometime in the morning I'll talk to Pam and maybe we'll shut it off or maybe we'll leave it on. I don't know, but you'll definitely be able to purchase until tonight. So sorry about that. Bummer. Okay, but definitely if you need some help, grab one. They're available now, so they're available at least until tomorrow morning. So get yourself one if you need some help. Okay, so how do we do this adrenal cleanse for low, normal, high cortisol, or any type of adrenal problems? Cleansing your adrenals in the below fashion can also support people with estrogen dominance, PCOS, low testosterone imbalances in male and female hormone, and women going through menopause. Okay, remember we need that good liver supported product, and all the liver supporting product has to have methylcobalamin, methyl tetrahydrofolic acid, glucosamine salt as our form of folic acid, and peroxidyl 5-phosphate, about 5 milligrams. Okay, if you're allergic to the milk thistle family, don't forget, you get yourself a good amino acid, like a liver amino type of formula, you know, one of those type of things. General layout for the day. So if the adrenals, how's it going to look? If you have more of the adrenal symptoms and it's like, oh, I need to cleanse my adrenals, how does that day lay out? It lays out like this. You're going to intermittent fast for about 12 hours and you're going to eat for 12 hours. You do want to make sure you're eating about every 2 to 3 hours during that 12 hours. And the reason why is your adrenal glands maintain your blood sugar in between meals. And if you go too long without food, that overstresses the adrenals because you don't have any food. So your blood sugar starts to fall and your adrenals have to then release cortisol to bring your blood sugar back up, which stresses your adrenals. So we don't want to stress the adrenals while we're cleansing them. So you're going to eat every about 2 to 3 hours. So, you know, maybe you start eating at 7 a.m., you're done eating at 7 p.m. So you eat, you know, something a little bit 7, a little bit 10, a little bit 1, a little bit 4, a little bit 7. You don't want to have big meals when you have adrenal problems, because that's a stress on the body. It's a digestive stress. The digestive system really has to work on breaking that stuff down. So we don't want to do that. We do want to eat a protein, carb, and fat at each meal, as that'll be outlined here shortly. We do want to start our morning at 7 a.m. with an adrenal shake. It's a very specific recipe to cleanse your adrenals. You start every morning out with this shake recipe, and you do need to take specific adrenal support. And of course, run everything by your licensed healthcare provider before embarking on anything, as it's just educational information. Okay, adrenal shake recipe. This is how you make this recipe. It's super easy, but it's incredibly cleansing for the adrenal glands. So the adrenal glands were shown through research to actually pull in things like mercury, cadmium, lead. So toxins will actually certain toxins will gravitate towards the adrenals, actually embed themselves in the glands. Certain cases were actually found to have viruses and viral compounds embedded into the adrenals, as well as parasites. So the adrenal glands can be affected by these things, and this shake is a great way to cleanse it. So we want to do a half a cup of frozen organic kale or frozen broccoli. We do want to do one of the two. We want to get it from you got to get it from a great source. So that's where you're getting the problems, because some kale is going to have a bit more heavy metals in it, which is contrary to what we want to do. So we want to get it grown on a good farm, you know. So there's a couple brands out there that are solid. We want to do a cup of frozen organic blueberries, 1 scoop of organic plant-based protein. So we do want a plant-based protein, ideally. For this, 1 scoop of organic plant-based protein. OWIN is pretty good. They have a pretty good plant-based protein. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of MTC, of medium triglyceride oil, so MCT oil, and then 1 scoop of your favorite all colors of the rainbow organic greens and fruit mix. So this is just an example of one, like what a label might look like, but you just want a good blended greens. The greens they help to provide nutrients that act as antioxidants that get rid of the free radicals that cause inflammations and damage to the adrenal. So it's nice to add that to this recipe. And then you're going to use as much organic coconut milk as you would like, unsweetened, and then you blend this all up. And that's basically going to be your breakfast every single morning. Okay, the foods that you're going to eat. Well, you're going to eat a little bit more protein for the adrenals because the adrenals require more protein for blood sugar maintenance and also for repairing and healing. We're going to do moderate amounts of fats, about 75 to 125 grams. So we want good quality fats, as all your adrenal hormones are made from cholesterol. Every single one of your adrenal hormones is made directly from cholesterol, except for your neurotransmitters. So all the rest of your adrenal hormones are made right from cholesterol. And we want lots of vegetables that are high in vitamin C, like romaine lettuce, bell peppers, cabbage, cauliflower, all organic, of course. We also want vitamins P and C. We actually want P, C, and J. P and J, this is the vitamin C complex. This is real important for the adrenal glands. So one of the largest storage places of vitamin C in your body is the adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands rely on vitamin C quite heavily. And vitamin C in nature is not just ascorbic acid. So ascorbic acid is a form of vitamin C. There's many different types of ascorbates. There's calcium ascorbate, sodium ascorbate. There's all these different forms of vitamin C, ascorbic acid, and which are great. But in nature, you can't just go to a tree and be like, yeah, can I have that 1,000 milligrams ascorbic acid fruit? It doesn't exist, right? That doesn't exist. In nature, vitamin C exists as a complex. It's a vitamin C complex, which consists of vitamins P, vitamins J, and vitamin C. So it's all those in this complex. So you want to make sure that you have the full complex P, C, and J, which you can get from a lot of your foods, right? So that's found in foods. If you're going to do supplementation, you want to have a vitamin C that also has things like lemon bioflavonoids, rutin, things like that, because those nutrients, they contain all the vitamin, the C, the P, and the J that you need for healthy adrenal function. Camu root, for example, is a wonderful whole food form of vitamin C, right? Loaded with vitamin C, and really beneficial for adrenal detoxification. Okay, so we got vitamins P, C, and J. We're going to need vitamin B6, doesn't have to be the activated form. We're going to need vitamin B5, which is pantothenic acid. We need Siberian ginseng, and we need rhodiola rosea. So if you have high cortisol, then you want to take large amounts of rhodiola rosea, because large amounts of rhodiola rosea have been shown to lower cortisol. If you have low cortisol, you want to take just a little bit. Okay. So supplements to help the adrenal glands: Eleuthero, about 100 milligrams. It enhances immune function, stabilizes blood sugar. Rhodiola, about 50 milligrams. That lowers cortisol. We want camu root, about 50 to 100 milligrams. Contains 60 times more vitamin C than an orange. Nearly 1,180% of your USRDA of vitamin C. Ashwagandha, we want 50 milligrams, reduces cortisol by 28%. And we want vitamin B5, about 100 milligrams. The one thing you got to avoid during this adrenal cleanse is caffeine. Caffeine no es bueno for the adrenals. It destroys your adrenal glands. Okay, so you basically do that for a 4-week period. Now, again, I want to just touch on this real quick. So I'm showing you right now how to cleanse the different organs and glands. We're going to get into right now liver, lymph, kidneys. And then we're going to get into how to, because then you'll know, okay, I am an adrenal. Okay, so you're going to do the adrenal cleanse, and then you're going to incorporate, and I'll explain how you do this, but you would then incorporate, okay, I think I got mold, so I'm going to do the mold protocol. Or I think I got a parasite, so I'm going to do the parasite protocol along with the adrenal protocol. You put them together, and that's where you get the big flush, the big detox. And that's what makes this a mini masterclass, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Okay, let's carry on. Carry on my wayward son. And you guys watch Idol? Loving it this season. Loving it. American Idol. Okay, so how to cleanse your liver, lymph, and kidneys. How do you do it? Well, everybody needs the good, balanced liver supporting vitamin. Got to have the milk thistle, the dandelion. This is the optimal ratios. So this would be the optimal ratios. And if you can't do thistle, then you need something like this. That's a good amino acid blend. And that's wonderful, like a liver amino type of formula would be good. Okay, good. So your liver supplement, again, must have methylated forms of B12, methylated forms of photic acid, and the active form of B6. Okay, so if you are liver, lymph, or kidneys, this first part is going to be identical for each case. You're just going to tweak it a little bit. So lymph detox is a little different than liver, and liver detox is a little different than kidney, and so on and so forth. But the general layout is pretty much identical. So you're going to intermittent fast, ready? 24. So you're going to fast. So I've done this before. It's not that big of a deal. So you're going to intermittent fast 20 hours a day, and you're going to eat 4. So you're only going to eat 4 hours a day. For the first day, you're going to have only the shake and one meal. So day one, you can do a shake at 2 p.m. and then a meal at 5 p.m. So days 2, so this is how this lays out. Okay, so I want you guys to understand this. So day 1, you're an intermittent fast, 20 hours, you're going to eat for 4. And that first day, you're just going to have a shake at 2 p.m. and then a meal at 5. Then days 2 through 14, you're going to intermittent fast. You're going to fast for 18 hours and eat for 6. And you're going to have 1 breakfast shake, 2 meals as outlined. And that's days 2 through 14. So you could do a shake at 12, a meal at 2, a meal at 5, done eating by 6. So you're going to eat a protein, carb, and fat at each meal as outlined. You're going to take the appropriate supplements. You're going to drink the appropriate teas. This is very important for the liver, lymph, and kidney cases. The teas are essential. So you want to get a good tea without any heavy metals. Some of these teas are grown on junky soil that are filled with heavy metals. And when you lymph cleanse, you're going to do some dry brushing, which I'll explain in a second. And of course, this is just educational information, so run it by your healthcare provider. Okay, morning detox shake recipe. What's it look like? 1/2 cup frozen organic kale, frozen broccoli, 1 cup frozen organic blueberries, 1 scoop of organic plant-based protein, 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts, and 1/4 of a whole lemon, washed well, including the skin and rind. You put everything in there, and then a scoop of greens. This is very important, having the lemon rind in your drink. It's not bad. I used to do this. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't even make it that much bitter. It's just like, it's kind of nice. It makes it taste like you're mixing lemonade with blueberries, really is what it tastes like. Okay, so when you're doing this for these 2 weeks, guys, liver, lymph, or kidneys, you want low animal protein, no more than 25 grams of animal protein a day. Some people should go 100% vegan or plant-based for those 2 weeks period. The worse your liver is, or lymph, or kidneys, the more closer you should go to plant-based. Liver, I have no problems with meat eaters. I have no problems with plant eaters. I'm a bit of an omnivore myself. There's a lot of benefits to eating animal foods, and there's a tremendous amount of benefits to eating meats. I do slide more myself onto the plant-based side of things than onto the animal-based. But look, I eat meats. I eat fish. I eat chicken. I eat red meat only about 3 or 4 times a month. But I eat all those things. I eat organ meats. There's lots of health benefits to them, but certain cases should avoid them like the plague. They're horrible for them. So if you have a lot of those toxicity symptoms that we went over, especially those related to the liver or kidneys or lymph, then you really want to go for these 2-week period, low animal protein, about 25 grams a day, maybe maybe a vegan or almost 100% plant-based for those 2 weeks. We do want to do low animal fat as well, no more than 10 grams per day. But we want to do lots of healthy vegetable fats. We don't want to do junky seed oils, but we want to do fats from avocado and olive oil, and soaked sprouted nuts are amazing for us. And there's a specific olive oil that you want here, and there's a specific black oil that you want when you're doing this. And I'm going to show it to you. And I have no affiliation with these guys, but I'm going to show it to you. So these guys should pay me, but they don't, not anything. But this is the form of black seed oil that you would want to get. And you're going to want to do a teaspoon per day when you're doing this cleanse. You started on day 2. This is what you want. This is a black human seed oil. Absolutely phenomenal. And you're going to want to do an olive oil. And these guys do not pay me, but they have sent me some free olive oil in the past, which I'm very appreciative of because I love their olive oil and I buy it whenever I need it. So I love when I get some free bottles in the mail. It's always a cool surprise. Little Gypsy Farms. So this is very different olive oil. What makes this particular olive oil unique? And again, I'm not giving a commercial. I'm just telling you what's real. So what makes this olive oil unique is, first off, this is called high mountain olive oil. So it's grown much higher. It's grown 1,650 feet or more above sea level. That makes it high mountain. When it's high mountain like this, especially theirs, because of the soil they grow it in, it's 5 times the antioxidant content as regular oil, meaning you would need 5 tablespoons of another olive oil to have the antioxidant content of 1 tablespoon of Little Gypsy Farms, as 1 tablespoon of Little Gypsy Farms high mountain organic olive oil. So it is a little bit pricier, but let me tell you, it's worth it. It tastes wonderful. It has a great taste to it. And, cold pressed, they have the harvest date on the back. It's awesome. Awesome. Highly, highly recommend those guys. Okay. So back to the stuff. Back to the slides. Back to the slides. Oh, there's a salt you need to use too. Okay, hold on. Wait, let me tell you this one thing. I'm going to tell you this. Okay, when you're doing this liver, kidney, or lymph detox, and you want to salt things, you want to get this salt right here. It's an Ayurvedic salt. It's cooling soma salt. Soma salt means body. It's almost like an alkalizing salt. It has a unique mineral balance. Not a lot of people know about this. It's called the Queen of Salts. Super incredible for your body. For this type of cleanse, if you can get yourself some soma salt, soma means body again. This is salt that comes from Himalayan mountain, and it's in the Himalayas, but it's mined in a really pure part of the mountain, so you don't have all the lead and impurities and stuff like that you'll get sometimes with some of these pink salts. But incredible soma healing salt. So if you do want to use salts or feel like you need some salt on this cleanse, soma healing is ideal. Okay, what do we want? We want berries, wild blueberries, apples, brown pears. Brown pears are incredible for liver and gallbladder, also good for lymph. We want kiwi, which is great. We want papaya. If you could eat the skin, it's a bit furry, but if you could eat the skin, it's a great prebiotic, taking stress off the liver. We want papaya, we want mango. So those are the fruits that we want, proteins and fats. We do have to be cautious on some of the nuts and seeds for some people, but we want hemp seeds, we want walnuts. We want a good amount of walnuts. We want avocados. We want black olives. Black olives are phenomenal in this particular cleanse. We want the olive oil, like I mentioned, that particular brand. We want the coconut oil, and we want that brand of black seed oil. We don't want to stir fry any of our oils, and we never want to cook with or really even use things like corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, or flax oil. You can use flax oil to make dressings, but the other oils, unless they're made correctly, and you have to know who to buy from, and I don't want to get into all that tonight, you never want to buy corn oil. But safflower and sunflower oil, they can be good if you get them from the right manufacturers that use low temperature pressing, and low temperature and low pressure pressing. They can be beneficial. Wild-caught salmon, sardines, wild-caught tilapia, calamari, and octopus. And grains, black rice, wild rice. You can do gluten-free oats. The liver case can, the lymph case cannot, the kidney case cannot. And legumes, all legumes, lima beans, and other beans are totally fine. Okay, eating for the detox health. So what do you want to do here? So cruciferous vegetables, 50% raw, 50% cooked. So these cases, you want to actually cook half of your vegetables and eat the other half raw. The reason why is when you have your veggies and your veggies are cooked, when you cook them, you increase the bioavailability of your minerals. So for example, when you cook something like spinach, you boil it for a minute and then strain it, right? That gets rid of the anti-nutrients like the oxalates, or reduces it by some studies up to 80% when you do that for spinach. But the other thing it does is it can increase the bioavailability of calcium. So if you were to eat raw spinach in a whole serving, you might only get 95 milligrams. In a boiled serving, same size, you'll get 300 milligrams. So more than 3x. Same thing for magnesium. You increase magnesium, you increase iron, all the trace minerals become more absorbable. The problem is when you cook your vegetables, you destroy a lot of the vitamins. So you make the minerals better, but you destroy the vitamins. So that's why you want 50% raw and 50% cooked. Because if you eat 50% raw, you get all your minerals, you get all your vitamins. And if you eat 50% raw, you get all your minerals. So that gives you a balance between your vitamins and your minerals. So, but that's why you do it. It's not just because, there's actual reason for it. Okay, so during the fasting period, you're going to use these teas. So for the kidneys, remember, you have lower back pain, cloudy urine, kidney stones, fluid in the lower legs. That's the big one. Electrolyte deficiency, fatigue, and it can create a deadness type of feeling where you just can't be energized no matter what you do. Like nothing works. Coffee works, nothing works. You just feel dead. That's kidney. Liver, remember, pot belly, the fluids in the abdomen. That's foul breath, armpit odor, body odor, brown age spots, all kinds of skin issues, hormonal imbalances. The lymph is fluid all over the body, right? There's fluid and puffiness everywhere. So kidneys, fluid in the lower legs, liver, fluid on your belly. You have the pot belly, lymph, fluid everywhere in the body. So during the fasting period, right? So it's going to be either a 4-hour fasting period, either a 20-hour fasting period or an 18-hour fasting period. Day 1, 20-hour fasting period. The other 13 days, 18-hour fasting period. For the kidneys, you're going to do dandelion or red clover. If you're menopausal, you're going to do 1 to 3 cups a day. For the lymph, you're going to do red root tea, 1 cup, or nettle tea, 1 to 2 cups. And for liver, you're going to do green tea, 1 to 3 cups. Green tea is amazing for the liver. So you're also going to dry brush. You're going to use a natural boar's hairbrush. As soon as you wake, you brush from your feet all the way up to your liver, and then from your arms to your liver, and then from your head down to your liver. So you're pushing everything to your liver, not your heart, for this type of a cleanse. All right, how to do a deep bowel cleanse for pathogens. Okay, so now we're going to be discussing mold, parasites, viruses, bacteria, yeast, and fungi. Okay, so first off, how do you know you got it? How do you know you got mold? How do you know you got a parasite? How do you know you got virus? How do you know you got bacteria? How do you know you got yeast and fungi? So here's where it gets a little bit challenging, right? Here's where it gets a little bit challenging because symptoms can overlap greatly. And for these guys, it is good to get with a practitioner who could do testing. Like we do testing on this stuff in our clinic all the time. But for general purposes, what you could do is go off of what you know. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Molds. What would give you the idea that you should cleanse a mold? Well, your house has mold in it. Your house smells moldy. You've had mold in your house at some point in time. You live in high mold areas, like there's lots of trees around you. You live in the forest. You live near woods. There's lots of leaves on the ground, right? These are all indicative of mold. You live in very warm, humid areas like South Florida. You live in the islands. You live in the southern part of Texas, Southern California, right? These parts are humid, they're moist, and they're more prone to mold. So if you have symptoms, no matter what your symptoms are, and you're thinking, maybe I've been exposed to mold, you just do a mold cleanse. It's super easy. Parasite, what would give you the idea maybe you have a parasite? Well, you have lots of gut issues, for one, right? Mold can cause so many different symptoms, we're not even get into it. But parasites, you have a lot of gut issues. There's bloating, heartburn, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, right? There's more gut-centric type symptoms. And you have pets that sleep with you. You handle your pet's feces, like you change cat litter and stuff like that, right? You frequent salad bars. You like sushi. You eat your meats raw or rare, or kind of rare-ish, right? Those are all indicative of you have a parasite. Viruses. How do you know if you cleanse a virus? Well, you know you have a virus. Like I get cold sores, right? I have herpes. I know that. I don't have herpes, thank God. Pam would kill me. So, but like I'm saying, a person says, I have genital herpes, right? I don't have genital herpes. Just being very clear, Pam, no genital herpes here. But no one, Pam cut me off. But the person has genital herpes, or they have cold sores a lot, right? Or they know that they have Epstein-Barr or have had Epstein-Barr at one time, or they've been tested for viruses and they know they have cytomegalovirus or something along those lines, right? So they know that, or they have lots of chronic sinus issues and kind of like a lot of fatigue along with that. Then, okay, you're going to add a virus component to whatever you're cleansing. So if you're cleansing your adrenals, you're going to add a virus component. And how do you know if you have bacteria? That's a tough one. So if you need a bacteria cleanse, the most common kind are going to affect the gut. So that's where parasites and bacteria get a little bit tricky and where testing is nice. So bacteria, the big ones are like H. pylori, which is going to cause stomach pain, gastritis, heartburn, indigestion. And yeast and fungi, how do you know if you have those guys? You got yeast and fungi, like your tongue is very white, your stool can be a lighter color, like it's more gallbladder-ish. And you have almost like an alcoholish type of smell to your breath. That's the yeast itself. Think of like yeast making alcohol, yeast fermenting. You have almost that type of smell to your stool, or to your gas if you're passing abdominal gas, or to your breath. Those can be indicative of yeast, or you've been told you have yeast, yeast patches on your skin, things like that. Okay. All right. So for those guys that are maybe just hopping on the webinar now, there is a special that I want to tell you about real quick before we get into those special cleanses, which is our Let's Heal Together webinar special. And basically what that is we have a special for this webinar. It's called our Root Cause Assessment. And this is a tool that I started using in part back in the office back in 1998. So it's been a minute, guys, like 27 years. So it includes a consultation with one of our providers, an assessment, so an actual examination-like procedure that's done either remote or in person, as well as an evaluation and recommendations. So first thing we do is a phone or video root cause consultation. So this is an actual consultation procedure that I developed where we are leaving no stone unturned. We are asking you the questions that no providers ever ask you so we can understand where that possible root cause is, the reason why you're not able to overcome your health or weight problem. That is fully dug into during this consultation. I promise you, it will be a consultation like you have never experienced. You really, really, really will. Then we do the root cause assessment, which is a specialized assessment developed by me, and it's performed on your face, your eyes, your tongue. And then this can also be done through a video call, or it can be done through a phone call. We just have you take pictures of your tongue, eyes, and face. Actually, 90% of the people do it that way because it's super easy for them. They just snap a couple pictures. We all have phones on our cameras now. Snap a couple pictures, zoop it over to us in an email. We have it. Your provider reads it, goes over them with you on the phone, explains what they feel like the root cause is, and gives you the recommendations. But we look deep. So we're not just doing a superficial view of you. We're looking at the red lines in the whites of your eyes. This is called sclerology. I got certified in this back in 1998. This is a technique that helps us understand, like people think sometimes the red lines, they're just like, they haven't slept enough or their eyes itchy, they got allergies. Yeah, those can make red lines, but there's specific red lines that are not those red lines that we're looking for. And depending upon where they occur in your eyes, it correlates, it connects to a different organ or gland. So if you look at these eyes here, the picture of this chart down here, you see there's these different things. Well, these are different organs and glands and things like that that are related to parts of your body. So depending upon the type of red line, what it looks like, how it moves, all different types of things with it, it tells us stuff. Then we go ahead and we do a tongue evaluation. We use the most important thing in Chinese medicine is tongue diagnosis. So we do tongue diagnosis on you and we say, hey, which part of your body is being damaged? Which part of your body, I should say, is being stressed? And that tongue diagnosis teaches us exactly that. So, and then we do a face reflexology analysis, meaning the everyday blemishes, pimples, and brown spots, they might mean nothing to the average person, but to us, they tell us stuff. They tell us, hey, your colon is problematic. Your liver is problematic. Oh, the real problem is coming from your pancreas. That's where the real problem is, right? Or it's coming from your ovaries. That's the issue, right? Or no, it's the bladder. So, and then we put that all together in step 3 and we make recommendations. And normally that costs $195, but tonight it's only $19. We're supposed to do only 50. We have 4 left, and this ends at midnight, but we're actually letting it run longer because there was a problem with some people logging into the web page. They were trying to, not logging in, you don't have to log in. They're trying to get onto the link and go onto the web page, and it was running slow and they couldn't get in. So it wasn't fair to those people. So what we're basically doing is this special is available for sure until like 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And so that way it'll give people time to purchase over the night. So Bethany, you could stop the tick down. So we have 4 left. We'll just leave it at 4. We don't have to tick that down anymore. And people know if they need help, this is the thing to do. And it really is, guys, because this can be done anywhere on the planet. It doesn't matter where you are. And I mean, yeah, it's different, but how many of you are okay with something different, providing it works, right? I mean, I know I am. So, and the purchase limit is 4 per person. 4 per person. So, and again, guys, it's only $19, right? So when we think about what that is in the course of a month, if we looked at that over the course of a month, it's like 2 quarters a day, you know, I mean, a little bit more. It's like, I don't know, 60 cents a day for 30 days. It's not a whole lot of money, right? So it's just $19 and you're spending that on yourself, which you deserve it, right? If you're a mom or you're a dad, you're in charge of other people's lives, you got to feel good. Because I remember when I was at my sickest and I'm supposed to take care of my wife and I'm supposed to take care of my kids, I couldn't take care of myself. You know, I mean, my kids were looking at me like, what's going on with dad? This guy used to play with us and was so fun and so great. And he can't even function. You know, they had to tiptoe around me. They couldn't make loud noises. Oh, it was awful. It was such a horrible time for me. But regardless, the body can heal and things are better. So, and they can really be better for you. You just have to find the root cause. And that's what this assessment is for. It's really designed to dig, and to help us identify what the root cause is. And then we're going to give you recommendations. So we're going to make those recommendations, whatever they are. They may be for additional testing, like, hey, you should really do these tests. Or it might be like, hey, you know, you should probably eat more of these foods, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, or whatever it is. We're going to make those recommendations right there for you. Cool. So, all right. I hope that helped. And let's carry on. We're in the last leg of this, guys. So hang tight. We're almost done. For all you troopers that are hanging in here, telling you this is well worth the hang, because if you stay to the end, you get all the cool stuff, and it's about a $100 to $200 value, and you get it all. And they're going to be given out as links in the comment section below. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we tackle mold, parasites, bacteria, yeast, fungi? How do we do all this stuff? Okay, well, the first thing that we have to do, no matter which one of these we have, mold, parasite, virus, bacteria, fungus, we have to do a 3-day deep bowel cleanse. So that's where we have to start. And we start with an intermittent fast. You're eating for 6 hours. You're fasting for 8. The first thing you do is you wake up, and on an empty stomach, you do 3 grams of glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid that helps repair and heal the gut. Then you do 300 milligrams of DGL. DGL stands for deglycerinated licorice root. And then you do a very specific probiotic blend. So you got to find a blend that's similar to this, because it does a unique thing in the gut. And I'll explain to that in a second. And then you'll drink an appropriate tea, and you're going to eat a protein, carb, and fat as outlined. And you don't really need to do lymph cleansing, so don't worry about that. Like you might because of your abdomen and lymph. I'll explain in a second. Okay, foods to eat and foods to avoid. So first thing is, during this particular phase, you have to avoid gluten and you have to avoid dairy. Those are non-negotiables. You want to eat low lectins, right? So things like wheat, soy, and rice, they have lectins in them. White rice has much less lectins than brown rice. But you want to try to be more grain-free, and you want to try to eat more things that are lower in lectins, because lectins can be irritating to the gut. If you have to do dairy, if you're like, I just got to do dairy, I can't live without it or else I'll die, then okay, fair enough. Then you need to get your dairy from A2 cows or from goats or sheep or buffalo. So the cows have to be A2 cows. Those are the older cattle, or you got to go goats, sheep, or buffalo. Calories per day for women, 1,400 to 1,800, and calories for men, 1,800 to 2,000. So deep bowel cleansing food protocol. So these are the carbs you're going to eat. Your soothers are your papaya and cantaloupe. So you want to have like, papaya or cantaloupe. You want to have your digesters, which are going to be apples, pineapples, and mango. So you want to be eating those guys. So essentially, this would be your best carbs right here for deep bowel plant cleansing. Now, this is not if you have SIBO. If you have SIBO, you have to disregard this, because there's something totally different you do for SIBO. It's a very specific protocol, and we're not covering that tonight. But regardless, this here, so we have our soothers, papaya, cantaloupe, digesters, apples, pineapple. We have our fats. These are the fats that we want. Tallow is a great meat fat that can be healing to the gut, as well as ghee. Egg yolk can also be very healing to the gut. There's lots of false information out there on eggs. Someone people have been giving eggs a bad name. There's this idea or theory that viruses are passed through eggs and people get them because, I don't know, any event. So from all the research that I've done and from working with all the patients I've worked with, some people, eggs are definitely a problem. Some people, they're not. So for me, they're not. They're incredibly healing for me. Like eggs are amazing for me. And that's not true for everybody. So proteins, these are the proteins that we want. We want wild-caught tilapia. If you can do tripe, which is actually cow stomach, that is one of the best proteins to have when you're doing this particular 3-day cleanse. And if you're going to do beef, we want to do grass-fed organic beef only. Grass-fed, grass-finished. Grass-fed, so you guys should know this real quick. I'll just explain this. So grass-fed means they're born and they're fed grass for a little bit, but then they could go off and eat whatever they want. Grains, seeds, give them some of this, give them a chocolate bar, whatever. They were still grass-fed. Grass-finished means they ate grass in the beginning of their life, and at the end of their life, they were still eating grass. So grass-fed, and then also finished at the end of the life, they're eating grass. So that's important to know. So you want your beef, you want to make sure if you are doing beef, it's organic, grass-fed, grass-finished. It's very high in CLA, conjugated linolenic acid, which is anti-tumor. It's great for the gut. It's all good stuff. So supplements for the gut, again, first thing in the morning, 3 grams of glutamine, 300 milligrams of DGL, all on an empty stomach. So we want a balanced probiotic blend, and these are the bacteria you need. So the first one is a yeast, Saccharomyces boulardii. The reason why you want that is Saccharomyces boulardii will eat up the undigested junky foods and carbohydrates and things like that that are in your intestinal tract that would normally feed the bad bugs. Saccharomyces eats it. So Saccharomyces eats the food that the bad bugs would eat. So it's essentially causing the bad bugs to starve. Then we want these particular bacteria strains, Bifidobacterium lactis. I'm not going to go into all the science on these because I know it's getting late, but we want these strains right here. You could screenshot this in your probiotic. So the amounts, of course, matter, but if you have all these in your probiotic, you're probably pretty good. Some other strains can be harmful. There's some other strains that really push up they create some issues in the bowels for some people. So, and again, I'm not going to get into too much of that tonight, but you just get this blend and you're going to be pretty good. Okay, gut teas during your fasting period. You could have ginger, you could have chamomile, although it might make you sleepy. You could definitely do chamomile in the evening, and you could do peppermint tea. Those are the 3 best teas to do during the fasting period. Once you've done the above for 3 days, then on the 4th day, you're going to add the specific pathogen detoxification protocol. Morning parasite smoothie. So before I do that, before we go over these, I want to mention this because this is important. So we're going to go over parasite. We're going to go over H. pylori. We're going to go over yeast, mold, fungi. But before that, we have to talk about binder usage. So I want you guys to find a binder that has in it what are called bovine immunoglobulins. So there's serum-derived bovine immunoglobulins, and you want to right away a wide array of these immunoglobulins. Brands that have serum bovine immunoglobulins in them, some of these immunoglobulins, when they're done correctly, they're incredibly potent. What they do specifically, the reason why you need a binder, I just want to explain this, is when you're taking something that kills something, the thing dies. So think of like, this is horrible, but think of like a person taking poison. They don't take the poison and disappear. They just take the poison and stop living. So if they took the poison in your bedroom, God forbid if they were in the bed with you, drank the poison and then died in bed with you, and you went to bed every night with a dead body in your bed, it would get real smelly real fast, right? This is very morbid and really weird. I have no idea why I went down this conversation. I think it's because I started watching Fallout on Amazon. But regardless, if you did have a dead person in your bed, why you'd ever, I don't know. But if you did, it would get really rotten and gross, right? Horrible analogy, but it's all I could think of. Blame Fallout. So the issue is, if you kill a yeast or a parasite in your gut, it's not like it's still there. It's just dead. So it rots. Now, you do have white blood cells that will come along and they'll actually digest them for you. which is pretty cool, called phagocytosis. But some of these other microorganisms, they're just laying there, they're rotting. And when they rot, all the toxins that are inside of them, because a lot of these organisms are filled with toxins, they leak out and they damage the intestinal tract and they leak into your bloodstream and they damage your body and they create inflammation and they create all these issues, which can cause someone to have a horrible response to a cleanse. And that by itself can make someone want to quit. People can do a cleanse and get dizzy. They can get lightheaded. They can feel shaky. They can get anxiety. They can become depressed. They can become achy. Their whole body hurts, feverish, clammy, sweaty, all these symptoms. And it's simply their body dealing with all this dead toxic material. So you want to generally have a binder when you're embarking on a cleanse of this nature. And serum-derived immunoglobulins, serum bovine-derived immunoglobulins, they are honestly one of the best. There's over 40 human clinical trials done showing these serum bovine immunoglobulins to be effective detoxifiers for inflammatory bowel disease, for people with IBS, for removing toxins, for leaky gut, for repairing, literally bringing repair to the gastrointestinal lining. They're absolutely remarkable. So get yourself a really good binder, and you want to make sure it has these serum bovine immunoglobulins. And you want the whole range. You want to get high IgG, but then you want to get the one that has the whole family of immunoglobulins. So it should just say serum-derived bovine immunoglobulins, and then it should say IgG underneath it. So it should have two things on the label, ideally. And those guys right there, they are incredibly detoxifying. Again, they just pull the junk out of the body. They're great for autoimmune. They're great support for autoimmune conditions. They're great support for people that have histamine intolerances, things along those lines. So you want to get a good binder. Neutralizes all these toxins. Way more effective than things like charcoal, so on and so forth. It's just a whole nother level. So, okay, cool. So let's talk about our morning parasitic smoothie. So you do the 3-day bowel detox. Now you extend that. You keep doing that, but you're going to add this. Here's your morning parasitic smoothie. Now, if you know, like, man, I got some parasites, they're pretty bad, you're going to want to do the smoothie twice a day or 3 times a day. Okay. You might want to replace 2 or 3 of your meals. So you definitely want to do the smoothie on a more empty stomach. You want a teaspoon of papaya seeds, a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds. Look, papaya seeds have been shown clinically to reduce parasites. There's a study that was done on kids that were infected with parasites. I think there was a 73% removal in parasitic worms from kids that took the papaya seed powder. We know papaya seeds are effective and powerful. I don't recommend them chewing them like you can, but they're kind of like, I don't know, peppery. So you can chew them if you want, but better to smoothie this up. So teaspoon of papaya, tablespoon of pumpkin. Pumpkin seeds contain certain compounds called curcubitins that have been shown in a study to paralyze parasites like nematodes, and they just go out of your body. 1 tablespoon of dried unsweetened coconut. 1 tablespoon of pomegranate arils. Those are phenomenal at getting rid of the little small itty bitty parasites. And then 1/2 to 1 cup of blueberries and unsweetened coconut. So you want to do the smoothie at least every morning, if not 2 to 3 times a day. This is going to flush this stuff from your body. Now, here's the thing with parasites. They grow eggs. So the way you do this, you do 3 days of, you're just doing your gut detox, and then you incorporate the smoothie, and you do that for about 2 weeks. You take 5 days off and you do it for another 2 weeks. You take 5 days off, you do it for another 2 weeks. And that should get you pretty clean. You do have to watch your food intake. Again, this is just educational information. You got to make sure you're eating enough for you. Work with your doctor or work with a provider when you're utilizing any of the recommendations that I'm giving you here today. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so H. pylori. So how do you get rid of the H. pylori? H. pylori. So the thing we know, there's lots of nutrients that we know that are effective. So there's some great supplements out there that are excellent support for H. pylori. But we're doing things with food right now. So I don't want to get too much into the supplementation tonight, but we are going to do things with food. So here's how you do it. So first thing in the morning, you did your first 3 days of your gut cleanse, and you're now on it. You're staying on your gut cleanse. The gut cleanse doesn't stop. You're just adding this. So if you think you have H. pylori, You do 1/4 of a container. It's about 3/4 of an ounce, roughly, if you were to weigh it on a scale, of raw broccoli sprouts. You have to wash them. You do it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. We know broccoli sprouts, the high sulforaphane content in them, as well as the other nutrients, they reduce H. pylori growth in the stomach. You do this for 8 weeks. You do the smoothie that we discussed previously every single morning, but in that smoothie, you're going to add, so you're going to do the parasitic smoothie because some of those items are also effective against parasites. But in there, you're going to also do a 1/2 inch of raw turmeric, and you're going to add an additional 1/4 of container of broccoli sprouts. The reason why is turmeric is anti-H. pylori, and again, the broccoli sprouts. You hit them twice, once on an empty stomach, and then you make your smoothie. You wait about 15 minutes or so, let the broccoli sprouts really get in there, and then you make your smoothie and you drink it down. Okay, yeast, mold, fungi. So for mold specifically, what are you going to do? So you do your gut detox, but then you have to stay on the gut detox, but now you got to switch to a low carb ketogenic diet. So you're doing the gut detox for three days. That kind of gets your gut ready. Then you're going to go ahead. You're going to stick with your glutamine. You're going to stick with your DGL first thing in the morning, but then you're going to go to a low carb ketogenic diet. And then you're going to have this particular smoothie. So this smoothie is allowed on this particular cleansing regimen. It's 1/2 a cup of unsweetened coconut yogurt with live cultures. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Got to have the chia seeds. Got to be organic. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. The coconut oil contains lauric acid, which gets converted into monolaurin, and caprylic acid, which is very, very anti-mold, anti-yeast. Especially, you're going to do just a little pinch of well-washed broccoli sprouts, 1/2 a cup of fresh red or green mango. So this is the only real sugar you're going to have in the day is from here. And then you'll do coconut milk, plant-based protein powder, and stevia. Now, throughout the day, you're going to do a teaspoon. So you can spread it out throughout the day, but you're going to do at least a teaspoon, if not a tablespoon, of oregano every single day. So at least a teaspoon, if not a tablespoon of oregano. Then you're going to do garlic. Here's where it comes in strong, guys. Ready? You're going to chop up garlic. You can't cook it. You could put it on your food raw, but you're going to chop it up. You're going to let it sit for 15 minutes, and then you can put it on your food and eat it. Or you can just, after you've let it sit for 15 minutes, you could just put it in your mouth and eat it. And you're going to do 5 cloves of garlic every single day for these 2 weeks. And then you're going to do ginger. You're going to do 1.5 inches of fresh ginger root every single day. You're going to grate it. You're going to wash it really good. You have to wash it really good. Skin it all. You're going to grate it. You're going to put it all over your food, and you're going to eat it. And that's going to help to reduce yeast, mold, and fungi. And you're going to detox when you do this. I promise you, especially when you start doing the oregano, garlic, and ginger, you're probably going to start getting headaches. You're going to feel like some refluxiness and some nastiness. Oregano is a super potent killer of microorganisms. So you got to get a binder. So you got to make sure you have a good binder. So the right way to flush your gallbladder. So this is the last flush we're going to do. So the right way to flush your gallbladder. So if you need to flush your gallbladder, you have pain up under your right shoulder, right rib cage, right side of your neck, fatty foods bother you, you have light colored stool. How do you flush it? Well, this is how you're going to flush it. You're going to use nutrients like barberry. You're going to use dandelion. You're going to use milk thistle, Oregon grape. You're going to use taurine, 1,000 milligrams. You're going to do, and that's 1,000 milligrams three times a day. You guys are going to get copies of all this that are hanging out to the end. You're going to do SAMI, 200 milligrams. That's awesome. And then you're going to do omega-3 fish oil. So these are the nutrients that you can pull from. So these are your possibilities. And then what you're going to do is one of the most effective natural medicines for dissolving stones is a traditional Chinese herb called Li Dan Pian. And this particular herb helps the gallbladder by dissolving stones. Rautrol is another product that stimulates bile flow and helps dissolve stones. So a combination of these two are super, super effective at stone dissolution. So if you have stones, you do have to be cautious because you don't want to kick one out into the gallbladder. So flushing with lemon juice and olive oil and stuff like that, I do not recommend ever. But this is 21 days prior to the below or to the adjacent. You're going to do the following. You're going to take your traditional Chinese herbs for gallbladder, 1 tablet with each meal. You're going to have an apple every day. You're going to do Desmodium, 1 capsule every day. And those herbs are really important. And then you're going to do intermittent fasting protocol like 12-12 or maybe 14-10, 16-8 would be max. So you're going to do that for 21 days. And after those 21 days, your gallbladder has been primed. If there's any stones there, hopefully they've been kind of broken down a little bit or at least filed down. So then you're going to follow the liver detox program for 7 days. At breakfast, you're going to have the following juice on an empty stomach. You're going to juice, not blend, 5 large organic carrots, 1/2 of organic beet, 1 whole organic apple. A green would be preferable. A thumb-sized piece of fresh ginger, and a thumb-sized piece of turmeric. And then you're going to take the following supplements: beetroot, 250 milligrams 3 times a day. You're going to do some barberry, some dandelion, some gentian, some taurine. So you're going to do these 1,000 milligrams of taurine, 1 capsule 3 times a day. This is going to flush and detox your gallbladder. Now, cleansing is amazing, but ultimately you really do have to find the root cause, right? Like what's causing all this nonsense to occur. So a person can have certain symptoms, right? Let's say a person has a toxin that's damaging the adrenals, or a parasite that's damaging the adrenals, or a virus that's damaging the adrenals, right? So, and they have symptoms. So they have insomnia, they have anxiety, they have weight gain around the abdomen, right? They have their face is becoming fuller or rounder. They're getting salt cravings. They're very, very tired. They're not sleeping well at night. Okay, you can take an herb or medication for every one of those symptoms, and those are going to focus here, but they're not actually hitting the root cause. Now, the interesting thing is, and here's where it gets complicated for many people and where it can get confusing, is you could have a toxin that's damaging the adrenals and damaging the thyroid. So guess what? You start to now have a whole bunch of thyroid symptoms and a whole bunch of adrenal symptoms, and adrenal problems can actually cause thyroid problems. So now you're like, what do I cleanse first? What do I detox first? How should I eat? Where should I go? Right? And that's where getting to the true root cause is really, really super important, because we could do all these different cleanses, but when we actually get to that true root cause, that's where the game change really, really is. So, and if you've been battling with symptoms or being overweight for a long time, like a year, some people have been dealing with health problems for a year or 2 years or 10 years, or you were told, hey, look, you're going to have to learn to live with it. I was dealing with mine when I was at my worst for about, that was about 1 year and 3 months, roughly. 1 year and 3 months where I was it was horrible, man. Some people are living like this for 10 years and they're told, look, you just need to learn to live with it. And the reason why they're told that is because no one's found your cause, meaning doctors don't know what's causing your problem. So they're all like, yeah, you're just going to have to stay on this medication. Well, you're just going to have to manage your symptoms. Well, we don't really know what causes it, right? Yeah, we don't know what causes it. That's why you're suffering. The truth is there always is a cause, right? Everyone is so busy treating symptoms instead of finding causes. Being overweight, for example, is really just a symptom of an unhealthy body. So many people focus on weight loss when they're trying to lose weight instead of health creation. They don't lose weight, right? Create a healthy body and your body will naturally lose weight, because symptoms are effects. Something's causing them. For example, when you step on a dog's tail, where does the bark come from? His mouth, right? So you wouldn't cut out a barking dog's tongue. You wouldn't be like, oh man, this dog here, he's barking so much. We need to give him some Prozac. He must be depressed from all his barking, right? No, you would just tell Uncle Cletus to stop stepping on the dog's tail, right? Or tell little Jimmy, hey, the dog's tail is not a play toy. Leave his tail alone. And then the dog would stop barking. You don't need to muzzle him. You don't need to drug him, and you don't need to do surgery on him. And the same thing is true for people. You don't need to drug them. You don't need to do surgery on them. Generally, you don't need to do both unless they get really, really, really bad. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is find root causes and get people well. That's what medicine should be. And it's become this insanity of, what symptom do you have? Here's your drug. What's your lab look like? Oh, cholesterol's high. Here's your drug. No one is looking at root causes anymore, which is absolutely insane. Me, my cause, my big cause, I had a massive H. pylori infection. My H. pylori infection, I had no idea. My H. pylori infection was causing horrible restless legs for me. When I say horrible restless legs, I mean, Pam probably felt like she was Rocky Balboa, or Mike Tyson, because at nighttime, I would ask her to punch my legs. I would be like, Pam, my legs are hurting so bad. Can you please punch them for me? And she would be like, dude, you're weird. And I'd be like, no, they're killing me. My legs are killing me. My calves are just killing me. And she would punch my calves for me. And I would get up and I'd stretch them, and I would kick her sometimes in the middle of the night. That poor woman. She's such a blessing. And I would massage them. I had a special gun. It was this, like, you've seen those massagers that are like, digga, 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 digga. This thing literally was a jigsaw with a little rubber piece attached to the bottom of it. And I used to like, all up and down my calves. I would wrap heating pads around my calves. My restless legs were so bad. I had horrible reflux. It was just burning. It would burn for like 4 hours before I went to bed. Horrible burning in my chest. I would be drinking water until 12:30 at night sometimes. Within 2 weeks into my natural H. pylori protocol, I did a very specific protocol for myself that I also utilize one-on-one with patients as support, not as treatment. But for myself, 2 weeks into that, my restless legs were gone and have never really came back. They came back once for about a minute or two, I think, because I was really dehydrated. But other than that, they've never come back. I don't have restless legs anymore. It's gone, right? I used to have horrible sinus problems. Every other month, I would have sinus stuff. Gone within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, that was it. Immediately started losing weight. Immediately started feeling better, sleeping better. Everything started improving. It was like instantaneous when you find the root cause. And that's why, like, with some of the patients that we work with, these guys are amazed because, like, there's this one guy, he's been suffering for years. He's a professional musician. He's been suffering for years, has been confined to his bed for the last several years. Within 6 weeks of working with us, this guy's got a new lease on life. He's up now, he's performing, he's doing different things, because when you find the root cause, isolate it and address it, it's like the body's trying to heal itself. It's trying to heal itself. And we're capping it. This thing that's inside of it that shouldn't be there. And for me, the H. pylori, for example, I also had a horrible mercury toxicity. But the H. pylori infection was in there. It's my body's trying to heal, and it couldn't. The H. pylori is just holding it in place. And then once, boom, you get rid of it, all of a sudden the body's like, oh, great. I could start doing what God designed me to do. Let me start healing. Let's heal some stomach tissue. Let's heal some nervous tissue, right? Let's start healing some brain. Let's get this guy more energy. Let's get him feeling better. It's like your body starts healing almost instantaneously when you find the root cause. It happens sometimes so quickly, which is why most of our patients start feeling better in sometimes as little as 4 or 6 weeks when they start working with us, because we got the nail on the head, right? Now you got to put in the work, right? You got to do what you got to do. You got to eat the food. You got to take the supplements. You got to do what you need to do. You got to move your body. You got to do the work. But ultimately, if you unplug the body, man, the body is just like a champagne bottle shaken up with a tremendous amount of healing potential just inside of it. And all you need to do is pop that top, get rid of that thing that's blocking the body's natural ability to heal, and it turns on. It just turns right on. It's really, really remarkable. It really is. So in any event, that was my issue. I had a massive H. pylori infection, was causing a lot of toxicity in the body, which overloaded my liver. I also had a nasty mercury toxicity. This woman, for example, here, her issue, she had intestinal bacterial overgrowth. This woman had thyroid problems for years and years and years and years. She had the toxin bromine that simply stopped iodine from getting into her thyroid. She was on thyroid medication for like 50 years. All I did, not all, but the main thing I did was detoxify the bromine, got her on the right nutrition and food. She lost like 50 pounds, came off of her thyroid medication that she was on for 50 plus years. And she lived happily ever after, as far as I know. But she worked with me. She would pop in every now and then, for supplements for like 7 years. And All I know is that 7-year period, she was never back on thyroid medication. So she did great. So I don't know where she is now. But regardless, I'd like to help you find your root cause. And that's our special tonight. Let's heal together, guys. Let's do this together. If you got a health problem, if you got a weight problem, please take advantage of this root cause assessment webinar special. That's the tool that we've been using in our office in part since 1998. It includes the consultation, the examination, the evaluation, and the recommendations. We start with that phone or video consultation where we leave no stone unturned and really take the time to understand your problem in a way that probably no practitioner or provider has ever understood before. And then we do a specialized assessment on your eyes, your tongue, and your face. It can be done over the phone. You just send pictures of your eyes, tongue, and face, or we could do it through video. The first thing we do is an eye evaluation. We look at the red lines in the whites of your eyes. It's called sclerology. I got certified in this back in 1998. As you guys know, I'm a naturopath. This is what I do, right? Or part of what I do. So looking and understanding where these red lines are in the whites of your eyes can strongly correlate to stress in different organs and glands. And that moves us. The consultation plus your eye results moves us towards the root cause. But then we do a traditional Chinese medicine tongue diagnosis on you. We look at the thickness of your tongue, the coloration of your tongue. Is it white? Is there a film? Is it yellow? Is there red dots? Is there brown spots? Is there cracks? If there are cracks or bumps or The best salt to have every day if you're trying to recover from an autoimmune disease, have dizziness when you stand too quickly, or are chronically fatigued, feel overly stimulated, have sleeping problems, pain, inflammation, or any type of gastrointestinal problems, is not Redmond salt.